Hi, welcome everybody. Bienvenue à tous. Hola, bienvenidos a todos. Las personas se van a estar conectando poco a poco. Les queremos informar que este evento cuenta con una
Welcome. People
traducción
will be
simultánea
connecting. We have
que pueden
simultaneous
activar
interpretation
directamente
that you
abajo
can
de sus
activate
pantallas haciendo clic
directly
en el pequeño
in the lower
icono
part
que
of
dice
your screens.
interpretación en
If
forma
you click the
de
globe
planeta
icon
y puede
that says
seleccionar su interpretación en
interpretation
español
and then select
y
the
dejarla ahí para todo el
interpretation
evento.
straight into Spanish and leave it
Hi, welcome
this way for
everybody.
all of the
We're waiting
presentation.
for people to join in to this Teacher's Cup. I would like to inform you that this event is available in 3 different languages. To access interpretation, you can click on the interpretation symbol on the bottom right of your screen and select English as your main language. Bonjour à tous, bienvenue à
And
cet
hello,
événement
everyone.
Teachers Cup
Welcome to
2024.
this event, Teachers Cup
Cet événement,
2024. This event
compte avec une traduction, une interprétation en 3 langues
has
différentes,
a
dont le français,
trilingual
que vous pouvez
interpretation,
sélectionner
and you
directement
can select
en cliquant
French
sur le petit icône
directly
interprétation
on
situé en bas
clicking the
à
small
droite
icon
de
for
votre écran.
interpretation on the bottom
Vous
right
pouvez à
of
ce
your
moment-là sélectionner la langue
screen,
française
the bottom left of your screen. You can
pour
select
toute la
French
durée
for
de
the
l'événement.
whole duration of the event.
Si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les poser directement sur le chat.
If you have any
Sur les
questions, you
box
can ask them directly
Q
in the
et
chat
R disponibles aussi en
under
bas de votre
the
écran.
Q and
If you
R
have any
available at the bottom of your
questions at any
screen.
given time, you can ask them directly on the chat function or in the Q&R box on the bottom of your screen. Si tienen cualquier pregunta, en cualquier momento pueden hacerla a través
If you
de
have
la
any question, you
función del
can
chat
post it
abajo de sus
through the chat
pantallas
function in the
o
lower part of
de
your
la
screen,
función preguntas y
and
respuestas
you
Q e
can,
R
which is
disponible
the
también abajo de
questions
sus
and
pantallas.
answers section, also in the lower part of your screen.
All right. Everybody, welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Yes, so everybody, welcome to the 4th Teachers Cup, to the Teachers Cup 2024. We are extremely happy to be here with you, with a cast of amazing teachers this year that will showcase their project on climate education to all of you. Next, please. So very quickly, this is an event in which mainly you teachers are the main event. So we will not talk long, just to introduce ourselves, who we are and why we are in front of you today. I am Gian Sadadou, and I'm joined by a few colleagues today from the Office for Climate Education. We are a UNESCO center based in Paris, created in 2018 as a direct response to the Article 12 of the Paris Agreement of the climate negotiations that really explicitly mentions climate education as a powerful means to drive climate action in the school system. We are also an observing organization of the IPCC and a coordinator of the Greening Education Partnership Initiative of the United Nations. Part of our mission is really to provide to you teachers opportunities and also free quality pedagogical resources to give you all the tools you need to teach climate change that you can see in the next slide. There will be a link sent to all of you, of course, so you can access all of this. Our main goal at the OCE, the Office for Climate Education, is really to support you in your everyday life, in your everyday work regarding the implementation of climate change education. And for that, we have a very diverse array of pedagogical resources in French, Spanish, and English, like this event, freely available for you to use. We hope this is useful to you. to draw some inspiration, the same inspiration that we hope you will draw from the great presentations that we will have today. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the Teachers Cup this year is the 4th edition. It was an event that we created for COP26 already 4 years ago, with the aim really to bring your voices, bring your great work to the heart of the climate negotiations. We thought there was missing a space really in which you could have a voice and in which you could share with fellow teachers from around the world, but also with policymakers, the great work you are already doing in climate education. And each year, it's getting bigger and bigger. So we're very, very happy for this. And each year, we also partner with an organization to bring another perspective, another network, another savoir-faire to the Teachers Cup. And this year, we partnered with an amazing organization called VVOB Development for Education. That will get to introduce themselves just now to you. So over to you, Asmita.
I will be doing a first
And then
introduction of VVOB, and then Asmita will take over. And indeed, it has been a pleasure to work with the Office for Climate Education on this Teachers COP, and it is an immediate result of meeting each other last year at COP28 in Dubai. So we as VVOB, we bring in the perspective of working with ministries of education in several of our partner countries. So we're an international organization with Belgian roots that always works together with ministries of education to provide innovative solutions that improve education systems worldwide. We mainly work in countries in sub-Saharan Africa for the moment and have also partner countries in Southeast Asia and also work in Ecuador. For us, the focus of the work that we do together with ministries of education is on the professional development of teachers and school leaders. They are at the heart of what happens in schools and the quality of education that we can bring. So for this, we work together with departments of the Ministry of Education that are responsible for the professionalization of teachers and school leaders. We look at quality education, very broadly defined, not only looking at training individuals to become economically productive. We see quality education also as contributing to more just and sustainable societies, ensuring learning that is relevant for today and tomorrow. With this definition at VVOB, it's very clear that we see climate change education as also one of our core components of what we work on in education programs. Since already a few years, we have been working in South Africa on climate change education and now also engaging in Ecuador with this approach. At global level, we have a specific platform, which my colleague Asmita will now explain with this slide as well.
Thank you, Inge. Hi, everyone. Also, like Inge, joining from Baku today. So as a way to support teachers and to empower them in climate change education, we have started the School Links platform for teachers worldwide to exchange and learn more about this topic. So at the foundation of this platform is really the community of teachers and school leaders. And it is based on 3 methodological, am I pronouncing that right? Pillars. The first is peer learning by teachers themselves. So we're really trying to establish and host a community of practice for teachers in climate education. And we encourage them to start with project-based learning, which is already happening a lot if we look at all the projects that have been submitted for this event. If you go to the next slide, please. Yes. So there's also a couple of support pillars to this platform. So first is we try to offer scientifically correct information to the teacher community. Next click, please. We try to offer self-paced courses that teachers can follow at their own pace in their own time. Next click, please. We provide access to several learning events by us or third parties. Next click. We offer carefully curated lesson plans and project ideas that you could get inspired by. Next one. We offer online coaching and facilitation of this teacher community on the platform. And last but not least, we have small funding available for teachers who wish to carry out climate change education projects in their school, but I will tell you more about that later. So why are we here today is because the projects that you will be listening to, hearing of today will be further presented on the Schoolings platform for you to engage about and to learn more about. Thank you. Over to you guys, OCE.
Thank you so much, Asmir and Inge, for the VVOB's presentation that we're very, very happy to partner up this year with. Some key numbers from this Teachers Cup, Teachers Cup 2024, the fourth one. We received more than 120 different projects that were submitted to us from more than 40 different countries in over 4 different languages. Next slide, please. Oh, and out of those 120, we carefully selected only 11 projects that will be presented to you. These teachers are here today to present their work they've been carrying out for the past months, for the past years as well, with all of you today. Next slide, please. So as we mentioned, this is an event for you, the teachers. So how is it organized? We have 4 different categories. There's 3 to 2 projects per category. Each teacher will have 5 minutes to present their project. And after those 5 minutes, they will have, you guys, you teachers, will have the opportunity during 5 minutes to also ask all the questions you would like to ask to this teacher. You can do this in 2 different ways. Either you can write your question on the Q&R box on the chat, but you can also choose to raise your hand using the raise your hand functionality as well available on the bottom of your screen. And at that moment, we will open your microphone and you'll be able to share your question out loud in your language, French, Spanish, or English, with the teacher and the audience. After we finish the presentations for each pillar, we will have a vote, and you will have to select your favorite presentation, your favorite project after each pillar. At the end of the Teachers Cup, after all the presentations, we will reveal the results and see who you chose to select as the 4 favorite projects of this year's Teachers Cup. So now, without further ado, I propose we start with the first category, which is greening schools. And for this, I would like to give the floor to the first amazing teacher, Sandra Kiru from Kenya. Sandra, the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. All right, so growing up in Kayole, I experienced firsthand the struggles of food insecurity and the daily hardships endured by families in my community. These experiences shaped my resolve to give back, and they inspired my decision to serve my Teach for Kenya fellowship at the Wabu Primary School. Now, to further bring context, the Wabu Primary School is located in the heart of Kayole, a large low-income area in east of Nairobi. This community faces significant food insecurity due to the combined effects of climate change on agriculture and other contributing factors that have made food increasingly expensive. Now, Kenya's economy heavily relies on agriculture and has been severely impacted by the adverse effects of climate change, such as floods and droughts in recent years. As a result, urban residents often depend on food markets to meet their nutritional needs, and particularly those in low-income areas like Kayole struggle to afford sufficient food for their households. This leads to what we know as urban food poverty. Now, to my motivation, why I started the project. During my first year at Thawabu Primary School. Next slide, please. I noticed my students going through the same. At least 1 in 6 of my students exhibited psychological challenges, including inattention and behavioral issues and frequent absenteeism. Upon further research within the school community, I confirmed this to be true, and it was widespread across the school, caused primarily by hunger. While I occasionally sponsored meals for affected students, I realized that this solution, though it was helpful, it was unsustainable. So I was determined to find a lasting solution, and that is why I partnered with urban agroforestry communities to establish what will be Urban Food Project Thawabu chapter. This project addresses the link between climate change and food insecurity through climate awareness and urban farming theory training, then practical learning by setting up school farms. Okay, so in terms of our results, the success of this project has been truly transformative. Students have demonstrated a greater awareness of the climate crisis. They have taken on leadership roles, advocating for climate action through storytelling and videos. And this shift in mindset, next slide, please, from feeling like victims to becoming active change makers has been one of the most rewarding outcomes. We've been able to establish a syntropic farm at the school, which has acted as an environmental hub for the school community, where students engage in project-based learning that integrates climate and agriculture education. The hands-on experience enriches their learning and connects them directly to the solution. And gladly, this success has led to expanding the project to a neighboring school, which was my alma mater, creating even broader impact. As a result of this initiative, the well-being and academic performance of participating students have significantly improved, with a 40% increase in science areas. And beyond the classroom, the project has also contributed to urban greening and environmental stewardship, building climate resilience. Now, how do we relate to climate change? We talk about the syntropic farm. This syntropic farm tries to mimic the natural ecosystem or the forest, and it plays a crucial role in our efforts to fight climate change by using sustainable farming methods, which restore soil health, they increase biodiversity, and they store carbon in plants and soil. These farms replicate the balance of natural ecosystems, reducing the need for harmful chemicals and making the farm more resilient to extreme weather, such as floods and drought. They also create greener urban spaces which help to lower temperatures, improve air quality, and support local efforts to address climate challenges. Now, when you go to our model or how we do this, our model is designed to address the link between climate change and food insecurity. And how do we do this? We have a structured approach. Next slide, please. We begin by closing the climate literacy gap, educating both teachers and students on how climate change affects food security. And this is followed by theoretical training in urban farming, biodiversity, agroforestry, and syntropic farming, delivered by sustainability experts. Learners then apply their knowledge in the real world using an illustrated guidebook to set up a self-sustaining food forest. And the harvested food is distributed to participating learners for home consumption. Students extend their learning by creating kitchen gardens in the community, fostering food security at a local level. So in closing, I would like to say that this model has the potential to be fully integrated into the curriculum. As of now, our teachers, myself and the teachers that are currently implementing it, we're implementing it as a co-curricular activity or through environmental projects like the 4K Club. So if it is integrated into the formal curriculum, we will allow more teachers to more time and resources to engage learners in meaningful climate action through project-based learning. And this will make the initiative more sustainable and impactful. So decision makers have the power to make this integration a reality, and doing so will substantially enhance climate literacy and awareness, which will create a lasting impact for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Very, very interesting and also on time, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the questions. I see already there's 3 hands up in the chat, so maybe 2, 3. Okay, I can go ahead and give the floor to the first person I see. That is Ivan Samuel Womala. Ivan, you can now open your mic and share your question. You can also write your questions on the chat, everybody else.
Yes, please. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I'm quite impressed with what Sandra is doing with her school and children in the Kenyan communities to address the challenge of food insecurity. My question to her is, how is she deeply involving people at a high policy level to support an all-round and a holistic community approach towards solving the challenge? Because she talks about children and also the school community, but what is her take and approach towards involving the policymakers and people who are in charge of making decisions to influence how things happen in the communities? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ivan. Sandra, very interesting question.
All right, thank you so much for that question. So for now, as I mentioned, we are working with the school administrators and the school communities, and we've been able to engage the community in as much as we've engaged parents and community leaders, local administration. We've not been able to get to the high administration, and that is something which we are working on currently. We are trying to reach out to as many as possible, but this, of course, is highly dependent on our results. So the more we prove that this model is working, then we'll be able to get their ears. Yeah.
Super. We'll go to another question from the audience. We have time. Enora Lesage, go ahead. You can now activate your mic. Enora, can you hear us for your question? No? All right, then perhaps we can move on to another question from Lourdes Chavez. Lourdes, you can activate your mic and ask your question. Oh no, she removed her hand. All right. Another question from Eleni Tsukgra. Go ahead, Eleni. All right. Okay, if you don't have any more questions, we'll go to the ones who are raising their hands right now. Bibek, you can go ahead and activate your mic.
Hello, namaste. It's me, Vivek Katwal from top of the world, Nepal. So,
Hi, Bibek.
hello. I guess everyone available here can hear me.
Yes, we
clearly?
can hear you. Absolutely. So
Thank
what's
you
your
so much.
question for Sandra?
My question is that as a educator, like we are here representing Nepal, and in our school, in our colleges, we are educating our student with different sustainable development goals, enrolling them in different projects as well. So how can we like educate our students in coming day with updated course of climate, saying that we are entering in.
Vivek, I'm sorry, you're cutting
So this
cutting
is my
out.
question.
You're cutting out. Perhaps you could perhaps you can write your question on the chat and Sandra can answer by writing. I don't know, Sandra, if you got the question on your end.
Okay, I didn't quite get the question. I can just answer on the chat if that's no problem.
Yeah, let's move on and do that. Okay. For any other question for Sandra, I encourage everybody to go to the Q&A box and the chat box to ask your questions. And Sandra will be with us for 2 more hours so she can answer all of them. Thank you so much, Sandra. And congratulations on such a great project. We're going to move on now to the second teacher of the day, Fabrice Gaël Ebo Niana from Cameroon.
Merci et bonsoir à
Fabrice,
tous.
hello and
Merci de m'avoir donné la
hello
parole.
everyone. Thank
Je
you
suis
for
Eboniana
giving me the
Fabrice
floor.
Gaël,
My name is
enseignant, chercheur
Eboniana Fabrice
au lycée
Gaël.
de
I am a
Biwongbane,
teacher
un
and a
établissement
researcher
scolaire
at the High
situé
School of Biwongbane.
dans la région
It
du
is
sud du
a
Cameroun.
school that is located
Alors, je
in
propose
the
aujourd'hui
south
un
of
projet
Cameroon.
qui s'appuie
Today,
sur
I would like to
le
present a
développement
project
des
that relies on the
éco-comportements auprès
development
des
of
élèves.
eco
Le projet part d'un
behaviors
constat,
with the students.
le
This
constat selon
project
lequel
starts with
les
the fact
populations des
that
localités rurales
the
du
populations
Cameroun
from
ont
rural
des pratiques agricoles qui n'intègrent
parts
pas
of Cameroon
le
have
respect
agricultural
du climat,
practice that do not respect
qui n'intègrent pas les
climate.
objectifs du développement
They don't
durable.
integrate
Et on peut
the
constater
sustainable
que
development
la
goals, and we
main-d'œuvre
can
utilisée
notice
dans ces
that
travaux agricoles est
the way
constituée
in
en
which they work
totalité des
and
élèves, des
the
élèves que nous
people that
enseignons.
are
Alors, s'il faut
working
avoir un
in
impact
these
sur le
fields
changement du
are the
comportement
students. And
des
if we need to have
populations,
an
nous
impact on
faisons
the
partie
change
d'une
of
éducation au
behaviors of the
changement
population,
climatique
we need a climate change
adaptée aux
education
élèves.
that is adapted
Pour ce
for
faire,
these pupils.
les
In
populations
order to
face
do so,
aux
the
nombreux défis
populations
liés à la croissance démographique
are
et
facing
à la croissance économique
demographic
ont des activités agricoles
challenges
qui
and
impactent
economic challenges,
notamment
and they have
l'environnement,
agricultural
qui
practices that have
détruisent
an
de
impact on the
grandes
environment,
quantités
that
de forêts.
destroy a big
Le
quantity of
projet que nous
forest.
proposons a donc
The
pour
project
objectif
that we are suggesting
de
aims
réduire
to
considérablement l'impact
considerably
des
reduce
pratiques
the
agricoles
impact
inadaptées
of
sur l'environnement
agricultural
à partir
practices
d'une éducation
that are
scolaire
unsuitable
au changement
to the
climatique.
environment through the
Pour
vector
donc mettre
of
sur pied ce
an
projet,
education on
nous sommes
climate change.
partis sur
In
3
order to
leçons.
do this, we
Les leçons
have
ont
had
utilisé plusieurs
3
approches pédagogiques,
lessons with several
notamment
educational
une approche
approaches.
qui s'appuie
An
sur
approach
l'apprentissage
that relies
interactif,
more on
ensuite
interactive
une
learning,
approche qui
an
s'appuie
approach
sur
that
l'apprentissage
relies more
expérientiel
on
et
experimental
enfin une approche qui
learning,
s'appuie sur
and
l'apprentissage
finally,
par
an
projet.
approach that
Dans la
is
première leçon,
project-based.
qui a porté sur
In
l'effet
the
de
first
serre,
lesson
il a
that had
été
to
question
do
de
with the
présenter aux élèves
greenhouse gas effect,
l'apport
we
de la
presented
forêt
the
dans le
to the
fonctionnement
student
de
what
l'effet de
the
serre,
forest
et
contributes
notamment le rôle
in
principal
the
de la forêt
functioning of
dans la
the
régulation du climat.
environment and the key role of
Cette
the
leçon s'est
forest in
appuyée
climate
sur
regulation.
des plans.
This
Nous avons
lesson
utilisé des plans.
relied on
Je compte relever que nous sommes en zone rurale, donc nous n'avons
we
pas
have
accès
used
à
so
l'électricité. Alors, nous adaptons des moyens pour permettre aux
slides.
élèves
We
d'avoir
don't have
plus
access to
facilement et directement
electricity,
accès aux
so
ressources,
we
aux ressources
make sure
pédagogiques
that
qui
the students
s'adaptent
can
à
access
leur
to the right
environnement.
educational resources that
La
adapt
deuxième
to their
leçon, quant à elle,
environment.
a porté sur les
So
conséquences
the lesson
de la
had to do
destruction
with
de
the
la forêt sur
consequences
le
of the
climat.
destruction of the forest
L'objectif
on
étant
the
de faire
climate.
percevoir
The
aux élèves
objective was to
le rôle
make the
important que joue la
pupils
forêt qu'ils
aware
détruisent pour
of
leurs travaux
the
agricoles
important role that
sur
of
le
forest plays,
climat,
forests
sur la
that they're
régulation
destroying
du climat.
for
Et
agriculture
la
and
dernière leçon
role
a
about
porté sur les
this
mesures à prendre
So
pour
the
lutter
next measure is
contre
on the
le
measures to
changement
take
climatique.
to
Et sur
cope
l'écran,
with
nous
climate
avons
change. And
utilisé,
in this case,
je
we
vous reprends les
used
planches que nous avons utilisées.
the
Vous avez la
slides
première
that we
planche
used. You've got the
qui
first
représente
slide here, which
l'effet de serre,
represents
la
the
deuxième
greenhouse
planche qui
gas
représente les
effects.
conséquences des
And then the
restrictions
second
de
one is the
l'environnement sur
consequences of the destruction of the
les changements
environment
climatiques. Et la
on
troisième
climate
planche qui
change. And
présente
the third
également les
slide also
conséquences.
shows those
Au terme donc
consequences. So
de ces enseignements, nous avons
these
pu
lessons
développer
have
deux principaux
enabled
projets.
us
Un projet qui a porté
to
sur le
develop this
reboisement,
project,
notamment
which
le planting
talks
des
about the
arbres fruitiers
rewilding,
dans nos
planting
établissements
trees
scolaires.
in our
Et
school
un deuxième projet
establishments,
qui a porté
and the
sur la
second
mise
project
surtout
which
d'un espace
focuses
vert dans notre
on the
établissement.
creation of green
L'objectif
spaces
étant de
within our
faire un effet
establishments, the
boule de
aim
neige
being
sur les
to
comportements éco-climatiques.
have an impact
Merci.
on environmental behaviors. Thank you very much.
Merci. Thank you, Fabrice, for this great presentation and great project, and for sticking also within the 5 minutes window time. We'll move ahead to the questions. So as a reminder, you can raise your hand and then you can open your mic, or you can ask your questions directly on the Q&A box. So while we wait for some questions to come in, Fabrice, I have a question for you. We were wondering what type of resistance, if any, did you encounter from your students when it came to adopting new farming practices?
Merci pour la question posée.
Thank you
La
for this
résistance est
question.
essentiellement
Resistance
culturelle.
is essentially
Nous
cultural.
savons tous que le changement
We all
d'habitude,
know
le
that
changement de
changes in habits,
comportement,
changes in behaviors
produit très souvent des effets de résistance sur
often
les nouveaux
generates effects
comportements
of
à
resistance
adopter.
in terms of the
Je
new
prends un
behaviors
exemple
to
pour
be
illustrer comme
adopted.
ça.
So let's
Vous avez
take an
des élèves,
example.
des
You
apprenants
have
qui ont eu
pupils, you have
l'habitude de
learners
pratiquer une agriculture surbrûlée depuis leur naissance.
who had been used
Or,
to
nous savons que
practicing
l'agriculture
agriculture in a
surbrûlée
particular
a
way
un impact
since
nocif non
their
seulement sur la
birth.
forêt,
And we know that
mais
this has an
également sur les
impact on the
ressources du
forest,
sol
but also the
et du sous-sol.
resources
Et par
on the soil
conséquent,
and under the soils. And
une conséquence
consequently,
sur leur productivité en quantité et en
this
qualité.
has an
Et vous
impact on
venez leur dire
quantity
de
and on
changer
quality. So when we tell
cette
them to
pratique
change
agricole qu'ils ont
this
eu l'habitude
agricultural
de faire
practice that they
pour
have been
adopter de
used to
nouvelles
doing,
pratiques
to adopt
agricoles
new
qui sont
practices
éco-climatiques ou
which
éco-environnementales.
are
Alors, vous voyez
climatic
qu'à ce
or
niveau, nous avons une
environmentally friendly.
résistance culturelle
So there
au
is a
regard des
cultural
habitudes,
resistance
de leurs
to that in
habitudes
terms of their
agricoles.
habits, their agricultural practices.
Très bien, merci beaucoup. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
very
Fabrice.
much.
I think we have Lourdes Chavez who raised her hand. Lourdes, you can now activate your microphone and ask your question. All right, Lourdes, I think it's the second time I asked someone from my team to assist you with the with the microphone. I see there's a question in the chat from anonymous spectator. It is interesting how you've engaged students on new farming methods. I'm wondering if at all, do the new methods taught to the students integrate indigenous knowledge?
Bien évidemment, les nouvelles méthodes agricoles
Clearly,
sont
new
adaptées, sont à
agricultural
cheval
methods
entre
are
les connaissances indigènes, les
a link
pratiques
between
indigènes et les
indigenous
pratiques
practices
du développement durable.
and sustainable
Et puis,
development practices. And
pour mieux
the interpreter apologizes. The speaker is no longer audible.
Oh no, Fabrice, I think we lost you at the best part. Oh no, we lost Fabrice on that question. All right, once Fabrice is back, I will ask him to go over to the chat and answer the questions for him. So please keep them coming. I see
avoir un
Hakim.
impact, nous avons présenté aux populations les pratiques agricoles. Donc oui, nous avons
Fabrice, you're back.
oui, quelques
I
problèmes
broke
de soucis de
the
réseau.
connection. I propose you go over to the chat to answer the other questions that are there for you at the moment. And I encourage Hakime to also write his question on the chat as well. Thank you so much, Hakim. Thank you so much, sorry, Fabrice, for a very nice project, actually. Very, very interesting. We're going to move on to the last presentation of this first pillar on greening schools. And for that, I would like to give the floor to Juan Daniel Quiroz Silva from Colombia. Juan Daniel, adelante, por favor.
Hello, everyone, teachers from all over the world. I'm a geoscientist and geoeducator, and I work in the Paideia College in Colombia. Our community is facing a lot of climate change problems. We are building resilience in a world where over 70% of people cannot explain climate change according to UNESCO. Teachers sometimes don't feel sure about it, and they are trying to explain, they are trying to learn. This terrible situation requires urgent solutions, closing education gaps, and transforming knowledge into action. The objective of our project is to have comprehensive, sustainable climate change education with participatory technologies based on challenges, geoeducation of systemic thinking with contemplative practices as meditation. We want our students to develop critical views and collaborative positions solving real climate problems and also taking very solid solutions. Without a basic understanding, it is difficult to understand dynamics of the planet and to have well-informed solutions. So this is the objective. We want to be practical and systemic in our approach. The project talks about climate crisis through the intervention and earth sciences through our education. We are facing climate change effects. Our students thus understand this, trying to mitigate and adapting to impact of climate change. So this is very important. We see how over 75% of youth are being affected, and we want to teach them practical solutions with tools to work with the well-being at the national level. That way, students can manage uncertainty, they develop resilience as well in the face of climate change impact. We combine very creative methodologies so that students actively participate through facing challenges, through facing local problems, identifying their causes, and also finding solutions. They learn to see planet Earth as an interconnected system with the atmosphere, the biosphere, the hydrosphere, and with everything that they have to relate planet Earth to develop climate measures using methodological data, principles of green architecture, and nature-based values. And we are also looking into drought and how we can use the catchment of rainfall. There's a catchment methodologies, and we are seeing the sequestering our carbon dioxide and dioxide, and we are looking into the different types of measures to tackle this, developing geoethics. We not only teach students, but all the community to recognize these relations of the subsystems of planet Earth and to understand their role vis-a-vis the global system. This means the comprehensive integral education. That's how we have been able to change this education community. Over 90% of the students now understand how climate change affects their environment at the local level. Families and teachers are adopting now sustainable practices. Classrooms are now being adapted, and we hope to reduce their internal temperature by 30%, whereas the water system is ensuring basic water supply in times of droughts. And this is a replicable methodology. We want it to be replicated throughout different municipalities for it to become part of the school network, of this educational network. Well, this is what I wanted to tell you. Facing climate crisis and water crisis requires our being very creative to teach the future from both situations. Children, especially very small children, this is what they have to learn. They are curious, they are resilient, and they have the capacity to imagine new worlds. This constitutes the opportunity for a more fair, sustainable society in harmony with planet Earth. We are basing those projects on science, creativity, and human values. Thus, we are facing challenges that humanity has not been able to overcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias, Juan Daniela, for your presentation. Very interesting, a whole school approach project. We're going to move on now to the questions. Once again, I remind everybody that you can raise your hand and open your microphone directly on the chat, and or write your questions on the Q&A box. I see two questions on the chat. Lilian Agola. Please go ahead, Lilian.
Hello.
Hi, Lilian.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. What's your
Nice
question
to
for
see
Juan
you.
Daniel?
Yeah, nice to see the OC. Thank you. Last year, I attended a seminar by OC here in Kenya, and I'm privileged to say that the information was quite great in helping me take it back to school, to my teachers and the students. So my question to Madame Joanne is, yes, they've developed quite some impressive material. I'm very impressed. And the use of the children, quite impressive, because children can grow up with this information. But how far has this spread to, in their country? And how can this be shared, to other people in the world? Thank you.
Thank you, Lilian. Juan Daniel, please.
Well, thank you so much, Lilian, for this interesting question. And the project has been moving forward in different spaces nationwide, especially in congresses of earth science meetings. We've been able to share this experience at the academic level, earth science levels. We are sharing an infrastructure allowing us to share scientific knowledge in schools. Right now, we are part of this project of the Office for Climate Education, in which the Latin American project of climate education for Latin America, we've been able to participate through this project. So we're sharing experiences and results. That's what we're mainly interested in, sharing everything we've been doing.
Thank you, Juan Daniel. Perhaps time for one last question from the audience, and then you can go to the chat and answer the questions. There are many for you directly. Leonard Marimbe, you can go ahead and open your mic now.
All right. Thank you. I wonder if you are hearing me, guys.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, sorry. Apologies for joining late. Technical issues. We never stop learning. I'm talking to you from South Africa, northwest province of South Africa called Rustenburg. It's a mining town. I was so impressed with Juan's presentation there. I'm one person that is doing a lot with the primary school learners this side. I think I've noted a lot of things that that impressed me. That was outstanding work dealing with learners that are, you know, the children are the best, the fertile ground to change, sustainable change and development. We know that when we try to address environmental and climate issues to to companies and private companies and establishments, it meets a lot of criticism. But I think with what I've seen Joanne doing, this is the best that the world should go right now. Because I mean, with these learners, we are creating a generation that will understand the impacts of our mistakes that we've done to the earth, and they'll easily appreciate the steps that we need to take, the interventions, so that we can really change the world. I think that is the best way to go. I saw that he was so involving, very, very, very involving to the kids, hands-on, and I saw he has got a natural classroom where he goes out with the learners into nature, because most of us guys, professionals, we tend to restrict our children into the classroom, and learners grow up to think that science is somewhere out there, somewhere, and through textbooks and so forth. But with what Joanne is doing, is going right down there into the using the environment as a realistic, a living teaching and learning resource. Yeah, I was impressed. I was very impressed. I just wanted to ask one question to say, look, with my case here in South Africa as an educator, we have a very a busy curriculum with about 7 or 8 subjects at primary school level, and we find that we in natural sciences as a subject, when they do natural science and technology, most teachers will find time to really get to involve learners with such activities that really talks climate change and environmental issues, unless the teacher is so equipped to learn how to integrate all the subjects into the curriculum. How big is the curriculum? What time does he get to get the children to do all this? Because it should be taking a lot of time for the young ones to do all those presentations and artifacts. How much time do you have? How is your curriculum? And when do you really factor in all these activities during your teaching periods?
Thank you, Leonard, for the congratulations and for this question. Juan Daniel, very quick answer on the last question he mentioned.
Thank you so much. I agree with you, Leonard. I think it's increasingly important to develop this type of proposal and alternatives. Sometimes this is a disruption vis-a-vis traditional education systems. We're devoting permanent space every week in our curricular programs, earth science issues. Every week we are including that in our curriculum. And it's very important for us to enforce, to apply, and relate all planet-related issues with everyday education. You know, we tell them about minerals and rocks and volcanoes and how everything alters atmospheric conditions, hydrological conditions of the terrestrial system. Once you start approaching those systemic issues, students start relating abstract concepts as climate, for instance. This is a major challenge we face, including this every week, every day. You know, 4,500 years of the existence of this planet, and we see the evolution of planet Earth, and we have to be very well informed about this and inform children. Yes, we do have special hours during the week for all the different grades in school. are analyzing these concepts on planet Earth. In extracurricular, we also have a workshop where we develop practices. We go out, we do field trips with students, we go to the mountains, for instance, to look at territories and everything they have learned in the classroom. Once we go out on field trips to the mountains, for instance, they can immediately see everything they learned in the classroom. It's very important to link, the classroom environment with going out in the field. This is very good. And we're using virtual reality as well, so that they can be traveling through virtual reality.
Right here. Hope you're at the end of your of your answer. I'm so sorry. We have to move on now, and this first category. I'm delighted to see all the interest and the questions. So once again, I invite all of you to keep on interacting on the chat, answering those questions. But also, I would like to get everyone's attention right now because we're moving on to the first voting round of this Teachers' Cup. So, everybody, the time has come to vote to select your favorite project out of the three amazing presentations we just heard. You can go directly to menti.com and enter the code you see on the screen. 29297714 and vote for one of the three projects you just heard. Or you can just access directly the Menti through the QR code on the screen right now. The voting is opening now, and it's going to be open for 1 minute and 30 seconds. So the time to vote is now. Go, 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 everybody.
Okay, we have already 40 answers on this voting section. So yeah, you have 1 minute left, everybody. And the results will be shared at the end of the 4 pilot presentations. So stay until the end if you want to know which teacher won for each category. 70 votes. 30 seconds left.
Let's see the voting process here.
Okay. Hurry up, everybody. If you want to vote, you have around 10 seconds left. Oh my gosh. We have over 100 votes already for this category.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perhaps let's leave a few seconds more as is the first round to get everybody on the Menti.
Yeah.
But then we'll stick to the 1 minute 30. The idea is that we're trying to make it as fair for everybody. Okay, let's count from 10 backwards.
Yeah, I added 30 seconds more, so we have 15 left.
Okay, so Natalie, you can give the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's over for the first category. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the three amazing teachers who opened up this fourth Teachers' Cup. Now we're going to move on to the second pillar, presented by my colleague Asmita from VVOB. No, Inge.
Or again, Inge. Yeah, we just
Inge,
split
go
it up.
ahead.
I will go for the pillar of the greening curriculum, and you'll have to wait for the third pillar to hear my colleague Asmita again. So I'm happy to take you to the second part of this Teachers' Cup with the greening curriculum projects from 3 teachers. With the first teacher, we're staying in Colombia. So I'm going to invite Fanny Hernandez Quintero for her presentation on her Teachers' Cup project. funny. Please take it away.
Buen día para todos. Es un gran orgullo
Good morning,
encontrarme en este gran
everyone.
encuentro.
What a great pride to
Hoy,
be
en nombre de muchos
here
estudiantes
today
colombianos
on
y de
behalf of
muchas
many
personas,
Colombian
quiero dar a
students.
conocer este proyecto
Well,
que es una
I
verdadera
wanted to
pasión para
tell you
todos
about this
nosotros.
project, a true passion
Nuestro
for all of
proyecto está
us.
ubicado
This
en Bogotá,
project is
Colombia, en la
located in
localidad de
Bogota,
Suba,
Colombia, in
una
Suba. This is
localidad
the municipality.
afectada por el
It has
cambio
been
climático,
affected by climate change,
generado generalmente por
mainly
el manejo inadecuado de residuos
due
sólidos, y
to
está vinculada a una
solid
propuesta
waste.
de páramo aula viva.
And
En
this
este
is the
momento se está
proposal we're making
desarrollando
right now. We are
en el
developing
entorno del
this
páramo de
project within
Siscuncín,
the
en
Siskuncin
Boyacá.
mountain range
Este
and
proyecto
the
de
municipality
coordinación
of
San José
Uracaya.
se desarrolla en el
And this
Colegio
is the
Gerardo
name
Molina Ramírez
of
y tiene
the
como propuesta desarrollar un
project
currículo
Compasave.
transversal en el marco STEAM,
And we want to
donde
have
se
this
aborden dos
cross-cutting
componentes
curricular program
fundamentales
with two
que corresponden
fundamental
al secuestro de carbono a
elements:
través de la técnica del
carbon
compostaje
sequestering process
y
through the
la corresponsión
composting
a la recuperación de
method.
frailejones
And
en el páramo de Siscuncín,
this
Mapachá,
is in the
en
Sisconsima
delimitaciones del páramo de Pispi,
Mamapacha
afectado
municipality.
notablemente por
We've had
incendios
great
ocasionados por
impact
cambio
because
climático.
of
Nuestro
forest
currículo
fires caused by climate
se
change.
ha basado y se ha transversado
And this is
a
something we are
partir
now
de la propuesta
using
basura cero a
as
cero
of
emisiones. Se ha trabajado
the
con 115
proposal on the
maestros,
carbon footprint.
3.100 estudiantes, las familias
3,100
correspondientes,
students are
y tiene
participating
como
with their
elemento
corresponding
incluyente la
families.
medición
We are
de
measuring
la huella de carbono, que en
the
nuestra
carbon
localidad llega hasta
footprint
30 toneladas
up
de
to
carbono,
30
y el
tons of
seguimiento
carbon
a las
in our
temperaturas
location. And
históricas en la ciudad de
also
Bogotá, al
historic
igual
temperatures
que el
are
desarrollo de
increasing.
prácticas en el páramo
And
desde el
we're
año
also
2012
developing
hasta la fecha,
practices
donde hemos
since
identificado
2012
cambios notables
until
de
now. We
temperatura.
have seen
Nuestro currículo
important climate or
tiene
temperature
un
changes.
componente fundamental
We have a
que
fundamental
corresponde a las
component in our
sesiones
project:
interdisciplinarias con 115 maestros
interdisciplinary
que hemos
courses
establecido
with
una
teachers,
estructura
sessions with
curricular
teachers,
transversal
and we're
que ha
including
permitido
this
hacer
as
adopciones
a
de la
cross-cutting
propuesta
process, listening to
de Alejo,
proposals made
que es
by
educación para América Latina del cambio climático,
Education for Latin
en la
American
metodología
Climate
web
Change
Nexus,
program.
que nos
And we
permite
also have the
identificar
Nexus
las relaciones
technology
de los efectos del cambio
identifying
climático, especialmente
effects of
sobre la
climate
erosión
change, especially
hídrico
on
y el
water
efecto de los gases de
resources
efecto invernadero,
and the
e incluir
greenhouse
la
effects
problemática
gases.
local
We're talking
llevada
about this
básicamente a lo
in
que es hacer
terms of the
indicación
local
biológica
situation,
a través
in
de
terms
aves
of
y mirar
biological
toda la
indication,
problemática relacionada
and
al
we're
entorno.
looking at problems
Igualmente, este
related to
currículo
this
incluye
environment.
todos los
This
principios de la
it
Agenda
has to do
2050,
with
que es una
principles of
política,
the
y
2050,
inicialmente este
which is a
currículo nos ha
policy here.
permitido formular
And this
una
program
carpeta
has allowed
de
us to
componentes ambientales
develop
para
a
el
list
trabajo
of
en páramo.
environmental
Nuestro
impact
currículo
and
y nuestro
components.
proyecto
This is
consiste
our
básicamente en este momento
project,
en tomar esta problemática local,
mainly taking local
generar
problems
todo lo
to
que es el
generate
secuestro de carbono a través de
carbon
los gases de efecto
sequestering
invernadero a través de la técnica de compost,
procedures through the
y generar un
composting
sustrato
technology.
viable
We are
para
generating a
hacer
viable
siembra de
substrate
frailejones y germinación de
so
estos,
that we can
especialmente
have
del
the
género Speletia lopezia Speletia
despelatia
locetana. Nuestro currículo tiene 5 componentes que
process.
son el
We have
componente
5
química,
components: the
física, tecnología,
chemical, physical,
informática, ingeniería,
technological,
artes,
the
matemáticas y
information, the
humanidades con
engineering,
las
arts,
respectivas unidades
mathematics, and
temáticas.
humanities.
Como
We
resultados
include
básicos de
all
nuestro
those
proyecto, nosotros
courses
hemos
in our
logrado
project. Based
estandarizar
on
este
that, we've been
sustrato
able to
y
standardize the
haciéndolo
substrate,
viable para
and we are making it
la
viable
recuperación de estos
to
frailejones en esta
recover
zona de Mapachá, que ha
everything
perdido
in
20
this
frailejones
Mamapacha
hace 2
area
años,
where we have
y hemos
lost a
generado un
lot of
secuestro de
what
carbono
we
de
had years ago. And we are taking
4.335
this
kilogramos
carbon,
de
and you see
CO2.
the
Hemos generado un
732
rendimiento del
kilograms
69%
with
y
a
hemos
yield of
estandarizado
69%. We've
matemáticamente
standardized
todo el proceso de
mathematically
emisiones,
all the
haciendo una
emission
adopción
process. This
de
has been
investigaciones
a
generadas en
research
Estados Unidos y
project
en México.
projects
Puede
done in
tal vez
the
una de
United
las
States and
traducciones
Mexico.
más
Perhaps one
interesantes
of the
es
most
mirar más o
interesting
menos estudiantes
results,
de nivel de
aside from the
primaria a
passion of our
secundaria
students
y
from elementary school, junior
básicamente
high
a
school,
través del comité
and middle
ambiental
higher
generando
education,
procesos de
we see
germinación de
how we're
frailejones
generating this
donde a través de la prueba de
project.
fitotoxicidad hemos
Also,
logrado
through the toxicity,
generar hasta el
we've been
momento
able
100
to have
frailejones.
this at least
Entregamos
100
hace
of
poco,
this,
hace 8 días,
and some
57
8
frailejones
days ago,
que fueron
50
plantados
days
en el páramo de
ago,
Mapacha.
we planted
Los
this in the
chicos hicieron toda
Mapacha
la extracción de las semillas, hicimos las
location. They
plantulaciones y en
extracted
condiciones de Bogotá
the
logramos un
seeds,
crecimiento de
and we
frailejones
were
de
able
1 a
to
2 hasta 8
have them
centímetros.
grow
Llevamos
from
estos
wide
germinadores
1
y
to 8
generamos la
centimeters,
apropiación del
and
territorio,
we were able
llevando
to
este
appropriate the
proceso a
territory,
este lugar.
taking this
Como
process.
ustedes pueden observar en las
As you
imágenes,
can
esto
see
genera
in
una
the
pasión
images, this
increíble en los
generates
chicos y
incredible
permite
passion
establecer
in
unas
our
unidades
children,
básicas de trabajo.
establishing
Uno de los
the work
elementos
we do.
claves
One
de
of
este
the key
proceso es generar
elements is
comunidades
to
resilientes
generate
que permitan
resilient
apreciar y valorar
communities,
los
allowing
cambios
us
en
to
la recuperación del
value
agua.
the
Como ustedes
work
se han
we
podido dar
do,
cuenta, en este momento
and
estamos afectados gravemente
we are
por la
being
pérdida del
affected
recurso hídrico.
by the loss of the water resource.
Quiero dejar con esto un
So
mensaje
with
pequeño
this,
y
let
es que
me
ya tenemos un
convey
currículo
a simple
establecido,
message.
transversal,
We have
con una
established this
experiencia
cross-cutting
básica
program
de casi
with
5
basic
años y que
experience
este
of
año se
about 5
traslada
years.
básicamente a este
And we
territorio
want to
donde
convey
hemos
this,
generado un
not only the
convenio
work we
con la
do in
Fundación
this
Adopta un
territory,
Frailejón
we
y hemos
have
llevado y hemos
a
entregado esta sustrato. Y
Railehan
quiero dejar
Foundation
finalmente
agreement.
una
And
frase
finally,
que
let me
escribieron mis
give
hijos.
you
Me
a
dijeron,
phrase that one of the
tienen que
kids
llevar a
wrote.
este gran encuentro
And he says,
estas
yes,
imágenes
this
con
is what
esta
we
pasión
want.
que me
We
permiten
want you to see
indicarles
those
a ustedes
images full of
que
passion
es un
to
proyecto
tell you
incluyente,
this is
replicable
an
en Colombia,
inclusive
que es uno de los
project
países
that
que
can be
tenemos un uso
replicated.
maravilloso en agua.
Colombia has
En Paraguay,
marvelous
me
water
dijo un profe,
resources.
cada
And
frailejón
the
es una
teacher
gota más de
said,
vida.
each one of
Sembremos.
these little
Muchas
plants is a
gracias.
drop of life. Let us protect everything we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fanny, for also a very passionate presentation on your project. I will look in the chat and see if we have raised hands for asking one question. I will ask Cesar Coronel to unmute and to ask a question for Fanny. Go ahead, Cesar. I hope it works to unmute yourself, Cesar.
Sí, César.
Hola. Hola.
Hello. Go ahead. You can ask your question.
Saludos.
Hello, greetings.
Profesora, quería
Professor, I would like to understand better the enthusiasm that the students have shown given these projects. Sometimes we have the belief, the wrong belief, that the youth are apathetic of these type of areas that are not attractive for them. And this leads me to my following question. How did you manage to motivate the dedicated participation of students, and they have developed an interest for this complex issue, such as climate change? Yes, the first element is being passionate. If you are passionate and you share this in our work and the training that you put into it, and well, this is turning it into a methodology of adopting our activities, which is one of the key elements for students every year. We go to different farming areas with our students, and they have been through Sumapaz, Huachineca, Chingazo, farming areas, and it is within this context that they develop an important connection. And the second point is to bring down to earth the teaching of all of these climate concepts to interactive scientific methodologies. This is basic science for them to understand the dynamics that
también
the
otro
farming
elemento
land
clave es el
has
tema de la
with
memoria.
climate change.
La memoria del
Another
territorio.
important
Nosotros
issue
manejamos
is our
encuentros
memory.
con ancestrales
We
muiscas, con
have
abuelos de
different
la comunidad
meetings
donde han
with
hablar
elders
de todo
in
lo
our
que es la
communities where
transición
they
del territorio
share
a
with
través de la
them
historia
the
y el
transition
efecto
of
que ha
the
generado el
land
cambio
throughout
climático. Si
history
me permiten,
and
en
what
aula de
has been
fuerza
created
y con mis
by
compañeros que me han
climate change.
acompañado en este proceso,
And
hacer
this
una
is
adopción
what
transversal
has
curricular
allowed me
en
to
el
have a
camino de la
cross-cutting
pertinencia
curricular
de esta propuesta.
presentation so children will see how
Thank you very
pertinent
much, Fanny,
this climate
for
change
the question
proposal
and
is.
answer to you provided. I invite other participants to put your questions for Fanny in the chat, where Fanny will also take up further answering your questions. And I will now go to the second project in the greening curriculum pillar in Ecuador this time. Patricia Henriquez Colonel, please take the floor and you can share your screen for your presentation.
Thank you. Could you see my presentation?
Yes, we see your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm Patricia Enriquez. Estoy aquí para presentarles mi proyecto
I
en
am
UCI
here to
Ecuador,
share
un
my
proyecto para
project
educar
in
sobre
Ecuador,
océanos,
a
mares y
project
recursos
to
marinos.
educate regarding
Yo
the
vivo
ocean,
en
the
Manta,
seas,
una
and
pequeña
sea
ciudad de
resources.
Ecuador,
I
un
live in
país
Manta,
de las
a
Islas Galápagos.
small
Tenemos una
city in
relación
Ecuador.
particular con
We
el
have a
océano
specific
porque nuestras
relationship with
aguas
the ocean
territoriales son
because
5
our
veces
territorial
mayores a
waters
nuestra
are 5
superficie
times
terrestre.
greater than
Mi
our
ciudad,
ground
además, es
surface.
un
My
puerto.
city
Tenemos la
is
flota
a
tunera
port.
más grande
We
del
have the
Pacífico
largest
Sur.
tuna
Por eso
fleet
me
in the South
sorprende que
Pacific.
estando
That
nuestra
is
vida
why,
ligada al mar,
even
el
though our
océano
life
siga
is
siendo un gran
connected with the
desconocido.
ocean,
En
this
2022
is not
medimos el
well known. In
conocimiento ambiental de
2022, we measure
385 niños de la
environmental
ciudad
knowledge of
y encontramos que ellos
385
podían
children in the city,
identificar
and we
problemas
found out that
locales
they were
como
able
la
to identify
contaminación de los ríos
environmental
y
problems such
plásticos del
as the
tema del
rivers
vertedero.
pollution with
Sin embargo,
plastics.
aspectos
Uh,
generales del
but
cambio
given the
climático y
presence of
aspectos
dump yards,
específicos
but
relacionados con los océanos,
regarding
como la
specific
acidificación
climate
oceánica,
change
eran
and the
desconocidos.
ocean
Por
pollution
eso
were issues that were
iniciamos
not
Limosí
known to them.
Ecuador en la
That's
universidad
why
donde
we
enseño, en la
decided
UDEA,
that in
junto a
Ecuador
dos
we could carry
profesores,
out
dos
these type
expertos
of
en
activities
acidificación oceánica
together
y
with
20
the
voluntarios,
teachers that are
con el
experts in
propósito de
ocean cleaning
mejorar la
and
cultura
our students with the
oceánica
purpose
en
of
5
improving
escuelas,
the ocean
en
culture
playas y
in
en
5
parques de la
schools,
ciudad.
in the beaches, and in
Limosí es
different
una
parts of the
pedagogía
city.
para la educación sobre
Uh,
océanos y
Lemon
parte del
Sea
conocimiento
is
del
a
territorio,
pedagogy
porque
trying to
creemos que
teach
solo se
uh,
cuida y se
ocean
ama aquello
science
que
to
se
the
conoce.
children. We can only
Además,
care and love that
pensamos que hay
that
que
we
activar
know.
la mente
We have considered
mediante
that
la
we have to
reflexión
activate
sobre el
our
cambio
mindset
climático y
through
el papel que
reflecting
tenemos las
regarding
personas en
climate
él,
change and the role
el
that we all
corazón
play,
con una
the
visión
heart
esperanzadora del
with
futuro de
a
los océanos y
vision
las manos
with hope
mediante
for
el
the oceans,
empoderamiento
and
de
our
los jóvenes
hands
que
through
participan en el
empowering
programa
the young
en acciones de
population within the
mitigación
program in
especialmente
mitigation
relacionadas con el
actions
océano.
directly related with
Ecuador es un
ocean
país
care.
vulnerable al
Ecuador
cambio
is a vulnerable
climático porque
country to
estamos
climate
ubicados
change
en el
because
trópico,
we're
tenemos
located
una alta
within the tropical
biodiversidad
region
y
with a high
especialmente porque nuestra segunda
biodiversity
fuente de
levels,
ingresos es
and
justamente
the ocean is the
nuestro
second
sector
source of income
atunero y
in
camaronero.
our
Por eso en
shrimp
Limosí nos
and tuna
enfocamos
sectors.
en el ODS
That's why
14 y en el
in Lemon
desafío
Sea
1 de la
we're
década de los
focusing
océanos e
in
intentamos
the
promover acciones de
development of
mitigación
oceans
para evitar
in
la
ODS
contaminación
14
marina.
and 4 in order to avoid
Lo
ocean
hacemos
and
mediante
sea
10
pollution.
actividades de
We do
educación
this
climática.
through
Las
10
actividades
different
están
activities.
descritas
The
en este
activities are
cuadernillo digital
described
que pueden
within
descargar
this digital
desde el código QR.
pamphlet that they
Voy a
can
explicarles las 4
download
primeras
through a
actividades por
QR
razones de
code.
tiempo.
Let me explain to you the 4 main
Nosotros
activities.
comenzamos conociendo
We
el
have
territorio,
started by
un
getting to
recorrido
know
en un
our
autobús
area.
popular
We
llamado La
go
Chiva,
through this
nos
in
transporta
a
por los puntos
bus
más
that takes
contaminados
us
de
through
la
the
ciudad.
most polluted
Allí se
areas in the
discuten las
city.
causas, los
Here we're
efectos
discussing the
sobre el entorno.
causes, the impacts on the
Luego, en la
environment.
escuela, en un
Then
mapa
within our
gigante de la
school,
ciudad, se nos indican
we
esos
have
puntos
in a
turísticos
map we identified these points and they reflect about which could be the mitigation actions that will allow us to avoid the marine pollution. And we end up by doing drawings of the city that they want to have free of pollution. Second, we approach the ocean acidity. We started with a local expert, and through these stages, students carry out experiments to attest how the pH of the seawater is altered through the presence of CO2. We conclude by trying to connect this with having a game online in order to save the ocean of the high levels of pH. Our third activity has to do with marine pollution given the presence of oils. Students are reflecting about how these industrial and domestic and tuna industry oils are affecting the ocean in our city, and which are the mitigation actions that will commit us to look after our oceans. Now, our fourth activity is precisely a mitigation activity. During the 5 days that the program lasts, the students are collecting the oil that they have used within their households, and they bring it over to our school and they transform this into different types of soaps. We are a young project. Lemon Sea has been operating for 2 years. We have managed to improve the ocean culture of over 400 children among 12 and 17 years of age. We have improved the understanding and the awareness of climate change. And well, we have improved the ocean culture with clear issues such as the understanding of climate change and human health, but we have managed to achieve these outcomes. We're publishing the outcomes in a particular project. In the mitigation areas, there are 3 schools that have committed with mitigation programs on climate change, the shadowing spaces created, the reduction of plastic consumption, and the collection centers for domestic oils. These projects are trying to get your mind,
Thank you
your
very much,
heart,
Patricia,
your
for this nice
hands, and your
explanation
heart
of the
into
Lemon
this
Sea
program.
project. I see already 2 hands popping up. I will choose one, Catherine Salvador. Please unmute yourself and you can ask your question for Patricia.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Bonjour. Gracias, Patricia, por esta propuesta. Me pareció
We
bien
thank
interesante.
Patricia for
Saludos
this
desde
very
la Escuela
interesting
Superior
proposal.
Politécnica del Litoral y me
Greetings
encanta
from El Litoral
proyecto.
Polytechnical
Lemon
School, and
Sea
I love the
se ve un
project.
proyecto bastante
Lemon Sea
enganchador,
looks
bastante
like a
participativo. Y mi
highly
pregunta para
participating
Patricia
project
es,
and
si
quite
nosotros
inviting. My
quisiéramos
question
replicar
for
ese
Patricia
proyecto en
is,
otras
if we wish
escuelas,
to
en otros
replicate
colegios,
these
¿cuáles
projects
serían
in other
tus
schools,
sugerencias
which
fundamentales
are
para
your
que Lemon Sea
suggestions
pueda ser
so
replicado
Lemon
en otras
Sea could
instituciones?
be
Gracias.
replicated in
Gracias
other
por tu pregunta,
school
Catherine.
institutions?
Bueno, en efecto,
I
la
thank
idea
you,
del
Catherine,
proyecto es
for
que
your
se
question.
replique
Well, the
en
idea of the
muchos otros
project is to
territorios
replicate it
costeros
in
que tienen
many
problemáticas
other
similares a las
coastal
que abordamos
territories that
nosotros.
have
A
similar
lo largo
problems
de la
to the ones that we
presentación
approach.
compartí
Through
algunos
the
códigos QR
presentation, I
para que
shared with
descargaran
you
materiales.
some
También
QR
tenemos un
codes
sitio
for
web
you to
desde el cual
download
los
our
maestros que
materials.
estén
We have a
interesados pueden
website,
descargar
and
los
well, those
materiales.
teachers
Y
interested
nuestro
can
interés
download our
para
materials.
el próximo año es
And
justamente que más territorios costeros
the
del
idea
país y,
is
por qué
that
no, de
in the
otras
next
regiones
year,
de
more
nuestro
coastal
continente puedan vincularse con el
area
proyecto.
schools could be
Porque
connected with the project
las problemáticas
because the
del cambio
problems
climático en relación
of
con los
climate
territorios
change
costeros pues
within
pudieran
the
ser
coastal
comunes y los
areas
materiales
could be
pudieran ser
common,
empleados.
and the
Y estamos
materials
encantados de que
that
lo
we have
utilicen.
created could be used by
Thank
all
you,
of you.
Patricia, and thank you,
And we'll
Catherine,
be
for your
delighted if you
question
use them.
on taking up and scaling the Lemon Sea project even to other schools. We're going to stay in the ocean spheres with the next presentation, our third project within the greening curriculum pillar. I'm going to invite a second Fanny Devois, from France, to present her ocean project. Please, Fanny, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Est-ce que vous voyez ma présentation?
Yes, I see your presentation and I hear you loud and clearly.
Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Fanny
Hello,
Devois.
everyone.
Je suis
My name
enseignante
is
dans un
Fanny
collège
Devois.
établi
I'm a
Médecin,
teacher
situé en
in
France,
junior
dans
high,
une zone
junior high
rurale,
school
dans
located in
à côté de
France
la ville de
in a
Lyon.
rural
Donc, mon
area next to
établissement
the
est dans
city
une
of
zone
Lyon.
rurale en pleine
My
campagne.
school
Il
is in the
regroupe
middle of the
à peu près 600
countryside.
élèves
It
pour une
has
quarantaine
600
d'enseignants.
students for about 40 teachers.
Notre projet
Our
s'intitule Ocean
project
Protect.
is
Il
called Ocean
s'adresse à 6
Protect,
classes de 4
and
donc
it
soit
targets
150
six
élèves chaque
classes
année,
of
qui ont entre 13 et 14 ans. Nos objectifs sont
of eighth
multiples.
grade
La
that are
première-
between
le premier objectif,
13
c'est de
and
montrer
14 years.
l'importance de l'océan pour
We
la
have
planète,
multiple
pour notre
objectives,
vie et
show the
notre survie.
importance of the
Nous
ocean for
étudions
the
également le
planet, for
réchauffement
our life,
climatique.
and
Nous
for our
mettons en
survival. We
évidence
also
auprès
study
des
climate
élèves à
warming,
partir de
and
données
we show this
mesurables,
to the student
concrètes et
from
actuelles.
measurable,
Ensuite, nous
concrete,
étudions
and
les
current data.
conséquences de
We
ce
also
changement
study the
climatique
consequences
sur la
of
planète,
this
mais aussi
climate
sur leur
warming
propre
on the
environnement
planet,
et
but
leur vie de tous
also
les jours.
on their own
Nous ne pouvons
environment
pas
and
parler
their daily
d'océan sans
lives.
parler de
We
pollution
cannot talk
plastique.
about oceans
Nous
without
abordons
talking
ce
about
sujet puisqu'elle est
plastic
visible
pollution.
d'énormément
We tackle
d'océans,
this
à la fois
topic
sous
because it's
forme de
very
macrodéchets,
visible
mais aussi sous
in
forme de microdéchets. Nous
in
étudions
many
le plastique
oceans
aussi
in terms of
dans un
macro
contexte de
waste and
fabrication et
micro
de
waste. We
transport
also
et son
study
impact
plastic in
carbone et donc
terms of
nous en venons à la
manufacturing and
pollution
transport, and
des
its
gaz à
carbon
effet de serre
impact
sur notre
leads
planète.
us
Nous
to
poursuivons
the
le projet
greenhouse gas
en abordant la
pollution on our
protection de la planète,
planet,
donc à
and
la
then
fois
we
la
continue
protection
the
de l'océan,
project by
mais de la
tackling
planète en
the
général.
protection of oceans,
Pour
but
travailler
of the
sur ce
planet in
sujet,
general.
nous
To talk
avons
about these
engagé
topics, we
des
have
sciences participatives. Donc, nous sommes
started
partie
with
prenante de 2 projets de
participatory
sciences
sciences.
participatives.
We
Nous sommes en lien avec
are
des
part
laboratoires
of
de
2
recherche, des
participatory
chercheurs
sciences.
en
We are
France
linked
qui peuvent
to
être proches ou loin de chez
research
nous.
labs
Et le
with
premier
researchers
projet
in France
s'intitule
who are
Plastique à la loupe.
near
Nous
and
allons
far.
dans
The
notre
first
environnement
one
sur notre
is
rivière
called
d'appliquer,
plastic
ramasser les
under the
déchets
magnifying glass. We
visibles
go
et
in our
invisibles
environment,
enfouis.
picking up
Nous les analysons, nous
waste
les
that
trions
is
et nous les
visible
envoyons
and
pour
invisible.
analyse dans un
We
laboratoire de
analyze it and
recherche
we
du
send
côté
it
de
to be
Brest.
analyzed
Les
for
résultats
in
nous
a
sont ensuite
research lab
fabriqués pour
near
voir
Brest.
quel
The
type de
results are
déchets
sent to us
nous
to
avons
see
retrouvés
what
dans cet
types of
environnement.
waste we
Un
found
autre
in this
projet est le
environment.
projet
Another
Adopt a
project
Float avec
is
le
the
laboratoire de
project Out of the
Villefranche-sur-Mer au bord
Float
de la Méditerranée.
with the
Ce laboratoire de
lab
recherche
of
a
Villefranche-sur-Mer near the
dispatché des flotteurs
Mediterranean.
dans tous les
This
océans de la planète
research
et
lab
nous
has
avons
sent floaters
adopté un de
in
leurs
all of the
flotteurs qui
oceans
est en
of
ce
the
moment au
planet,
large de la mer.
and we've adopted
Ce
one of their
flotteur nous permet,
floaters.
grâce à
This
ses
floater
nombreux capteurs,
allows
d'avoir
us, because of its many
d'énormément de données
sensors, to
réelles, en
have
temps
a lot
réel,
of
sur les
real-time
océans.
data
Je
concerning
vous
the
montre ici
oceans.
une des mesures que nous
Here, I'm
étudions
showing
en
you one
classe,
of the
qui est le
measures that
pH.
we're
Donc, à
studying
la
in
fois
the
quand les flotteurs
classroom,
sont jetés à
which
l'eau,
is
mais aussi
pH.
avec les données les
Once the
plus récentes que nous
floaters
pouvons
are put
récolter.
in the
Et
water,
nous
but
mettons
also
en
with the most
évidence que
recent data
les
that we
océans
have, and we
deviennent plus
highlight the
acidifiés.
fact that
Les
the
élèves ont
oceans of
donc
our planet are
une vue
becoming more
globale
acidic.
de
So the
l'acidification
students
des
have
océans.
a global vision
Ce
of the
projet se déroule
acidification
à la
of
fois
the
à
oceans.
travers des
This
activités en
project takes
classe, mais
place
aussi
through
sur le terrain.
activities
Nous
in the
allons
classroom, but also in the
nous allons à
field.
la rencontre des
We go
chercheurs
and
lors de
meet the
conférences ou de
researchers during
visioconférences. Nous allons dans
conferences
les
or visio
laboratoires de
conferences.
recherche
We
pour
go in
comprendre comment
research
la
labs
recherche
to
se fait aujourd'hui
understand
sur ces
how
différentes
the
thématiques.
research is
Et nous
carried out on
partons
these
sur le
various
terrain en
topics.
voyage
And we
scolaire
go
pendant
in the
4 jours.
field
Nous
for
allons
a
en
school
haut de la
field
glacière à
trip for
3000
4
mètres
days.
d'altitude
We
pour
go at
observer l'impact du
3,000
réchauffement
meters high on
climatique
top of a
directement sur
glacier
nos montagnes, sur
to
la fonte des
watch
glaces.
the climate
Puis nous
impact
suivons
on the
le trajet de
mountain,
l'eau
on the
jusqu'à la
ice
mer
melting,
Méditerranée
and
pour
then we
voir
follow the
l'impact
water
du
all the way to
réchauffement
the
sur la vie
Mediterranean
marine
to see the
et les
impact of
océans.
climate warming on
Ce
marine
projet
life
est
and
un projet
oceans.
d'une
This
grande équipe
project
pédagogique.
is a
Nous
project
avons
with a
plusieurs
strong
matières impliquées, donc la
educational
physique
team. We've
chimie
got
qui
various
va traiter les thèmes de
topics
météo,
involved,
climat,
physics and chemistry, which
acidification
is
des
going to
océans,
talk about
l'impact des gaz
weather,
à effet de serre et
climate,
la fonte des glaces.
oceans, the impact
La
of
science
greenhouse
élémentaire
gases,
qui, elle,
and the
s'intéresse au
melting of device, life sciences, which is talking about the warming of the oceans, the currents, and the impact of plastics on the ocean. In geography, they will look at the maritime transport over the oceans. And then we do things that are more artistic. In English, they take scoop posters, they take a superhero and change the message so that the message tackles climate warming and planet protection. In arts, using waste, they create fish and marine life to build at the end a full aquarium from waste. All of that to raise awareness about the impact of human pollution. Then in their French class, the students will be reporting, showing and making little expose on the planet and on their project. In terms of result, this project was submitted to the Prize Perrin de Brichambault in 2023. We won the first prize. It was a competition on weather and climate, and we were also in the final for this. The students didn't want to stop, and they wanted to continue this in a science club to build a prototype in the city to capture CO2 emissions and a book for the public to communicate on this topic.
Thank you very
for your
much,
attention.
Fanny, with a lot of enthusiasm, sometimes difficult to follow for the interpreter, so I hope everybody could follow. And now a next step for your project is, of course, here the presentation at TeacherScope. I'm gonna look at the raised hands in the chat box for any questions for Fanny. I see still 2 raised hands. Clavia Perez, do you want to ask a question? Or I see this hand disappearing. And José? You can unmute and ask your question for Fanny.
José, adelante, por favor.
No.
No, José.
Okay. Then I would love to ask a question myself to Fanny. Maybe a quick question. Fanny, as a teacher, did you also get a supporting trajectory to prepare yourself or with your fellow colleagues, teachers, to put this in place with your students? Or how did that go to prepare you as a teacher?
We have launched ourselves without any prior preparation, without any prior training, but we were supported by the research labs, which are also offering educational support to try and build the activities in the classroom. So the project Adopt Float is having a program for the students, as well as plastic under the magnifying glass that has support activities that we needed to start all of these projects. Then all of the activities were built over time because this project has been going on for 4 years now.
Okay, thank you very much, Fanny. And I see some questions still in the chat for you to follow up on, but I propose that we move to the voting of Pillar 2, the greening curriculum. Nathalie, maybe you can support again on the timing with, I think, 1 minute 30 seconds that we get. We go back to Menti. And for Pillar 2, we have the 3 candidates, Fanny Hernandez Quintero from Colombia, Patricia Enriquez Colonel from Ecuador, and Fanny Devois from France.
Thank you, Inge. Thank you to all the teachers of this category. So yeah, the voting is on. We already have over 70 votes, so this is cool. Thank you very much. You have around 1 minute left.
Okay, and then questions on Pillar 2 projects can still be put in the chat and will be followed up by the team and by the presenters themselves. And then the results of the voting will also be for the end of this session, Nathalie?
Yes, we will keep all the results for the end. Yeah.
Okay, so go to Menti, choose your favorite project and vote.
Yes, we have 30 seconds left, everybody. Now 20. And we have almost 200 votes. That's incredible. Thank you, everyone who's voting all over the world. If we have time, we might give another like 30 seconds at the end of all the presentations so that everybody can vote. Okay, the vote is over now.
Okay, thank you very much for everybody who voted. And then we will move to Pillar 3, Greening Teacher Training. And I give the floor to my colleague, Asmita.
Thank you, Inge. Indeed, it is time to move over to the third pillar, greening teacher training, a category that is extra close to our hearts at VVOB. And in this category, we will have Emmanuel from Nigeria. We will have Maria Alejandra from Colombia and Numan Alam from Pakistan. I would like to remind the presenters to stick to the 5 minutes without going too fast for the interpreters. And I will give the floor to you, Emmanuel. Take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope I'm audible. Good afternoon, everybody. Please, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, we hear you fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Good afternoon. I'm Emmanuel Momo, the teacher at Government Secondary School, Yashikira, Barotin local government. And my project is about growing voices, language for sustainability. And this project is motivated as a result of the fact that I teach languages in the school. And upon resumption and considering the environment my school is located, it's more like a growing community, it's a farming community. And based on the statistics I've put on the board, it's over 97% of people in the community are farmers. So issues such as bush burning, greenhouse emissions, and deforestation are common sight. And since my students also live in the community, I felt, well, I could leverage on that to teach them, train them on how they could be effective advocates towards ensuring that some of these issues as it relates to climate change are effectively nipped in the bud, and they could be change agents in their communities and eventually push for policies that will encourage eco-friendly practices as far as farming in the community is concerned and within the school environment too. Next slide. Next slide. So, and my projects, once again, Project Green versus Language for Sustainability is tailored towards merging language learning with environmental awareness, because from the look of things, these issues cannot be solved when there's no communication. You have to advocate, you have to write letters, you have to be persuasive, you have to meet with different stakeholders, and if this is not achieved, then that issue cannot be nipped in the bud. So I felt, okay, I could leverage my experience teaching language, teaching English language, and then towards ensuring that I train my students towards becoming effective advocates as far as climate change is concerned. The image I've put on board is more like a common sight in my community. Farming season, especially in this period, you see people burning bushes just to ensure that they prepare the ground for farming. And I feel some of these issues are not eco-friendly. They affect the environment, they deplete the ozone layer. So that's why I felt I could initiate a project alongside some of my colleagues in the language departments, and we came up with a team of green voices and language for sustainability. Next slide. Yeah, my projects are addressing climate change. We have several issues when we consider some of the things that are happening. The current COP29 holding in Baku, the United Nations framework on climate change, that's the UNFCCC in 2022, and the IPCC special report on climate change and land in 2019. And then more importantly is the Sustainable Development Goals, that's 2015, which emphasizes climate change because Article 13 or SDG 13 focuses on climate change. And some of the images you can see are me training my student about and becoming effective advocates. First of all, I took them to the school farm site and be able to get a glimpse of what I was talking about. Then we came back to class, we rubbed minds together towards identifying some key terms that they could leverage on them towards understanding what I was talking about. At some point, since it was a local community, I had to invite an interpreter that would teach them in the local language so that they could have a glimpse and effective understanding of what I was talking about. And after the school hours, they are able to practice this in their homes. Next slide. Yes, you can also see pictures of student leading advocacy campaigns within the school, and eventually we're able to create a club known as the SDG Club within the school. And what the club does mainly is to promote sustainability within the school environment. And sometimes we also hold awareness sessions in the community. We visited the traditional ruler in the community. We've also visited key stakeholders to us presenting our quest, presenting our plea for the environment to be safe. And we collaborated with other people in the community too. We collaborated with other staff members, community members to towards ensuring that the aim of the project, which is creating awareness about climate change and the sustainable development, is not lost. And the efforts has been massive. We have team members, we have a president. The school authority has also put more like an agreement or awareness on this. We meet regularly, present our request, and there's been no issues of such. Next slide. So my project has been kind of not without fruits. We've had awards and testimonials. First of all, we had from the Global Schools Program, which is an international agency champion of educators championing sustainable development in the across board. We've also had students presenting at an international debates. We've also had students presenting at quiz, inter-schools debates and competitions towards ensure that the knowledge they've gained, they're able to practicalize it. Currently, the SDG Club I talked about initially has over 150 members within the squad. And my plan is to increase the size and also take it to other schools while preaching the gospel of sustainable development. So that's all basically. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for this very relevant presentation, for this very relevant project. I am looking if anyone has raised their hands. I don't see any other questions for Emmanuel in the chat from the audience. I don't think so. So Emmanuel, if you don't mind, maybe I have a question for you. One question to answer. So your project was submitted. Yes, sorry. Your project was submitted under the category of greening teacher training. And I was wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about that facet of teaching the trainers, how that was organized, and maybe what they have been trained on. Could you maybe elaborate?
Okay, it was a collaborative effort with other members of staff in the language department. I also worked with teachers in the science departments because some of these terms are not things that I could actually explain. So it was more like a hands-on approach. Sometimes you go to the lab, sometimes you go to the field. First of all, I wrote them a letter of request to the school authority, intimating them of the fact that I had this project in mind, and when I presented my proposal, it was achieved. Then I met with them other staff members, also telling them this is what I had in mind, and they keyed into it, and we fixed the dates. Mostly it was on Fridays, or Wednesdays, which was more like a free period in school. Towards the end of the school, we ring the bell and we bring together students, tell them what this is about. Some other times I also bring outsiders like stakeholders from other schools and to train the student about what sustainable development is and climate change, and how they could be effective advocates in the community. And then it has been a wonderful experience. Some of them are actually implementing this on their farm because they own their own farmlands too as a means of raising income. So they actually implement these practices, although it has not been without challenges with respect to funding, but I'm very sure in the couple of years to come, we'll find the way around that while reaching out to various stakeholders in the community towards ensuring that the financial aspects, the financial burden is reduced. That's all basically.
Okay, thank you. I see that Lillian has raised her hand. So if you can do one more very quick question, Lillian, you can activate your microphone.
Hello, everyone. So to Emmanuel, are there any challenges because I'm an English teacher also, and I'm wondering, are there any challenges you face when trying to integrate the other teachers into this program?
Well, I faced challenges because most of my teachers were not even aware of SDGs on its own, so I had to take them through more like a refresher training, and I leverage resources from the Global Schools websites, and we have different subjects, while also meeting with other teachers outside the school, some of my colleagues in the Global Schools Forum on how they could assist these teachers. So Those were some of the challenges I faced then. Materials too, some materials were lacking, like, and since it's a local school, translating. So what I did was invite somebody who understood the language, because I'm not really familiar with the language, the local language. Inviting somebody while I'm speaking, okay, is also interpreting to them, and the flow goes. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Lillian. I would encourage everyone to keep writing their questions in the chat, and please indicate to which presenter your question is directed to. Now, moving over all the way from Colombia, we have our teacher, Maria Alejandra, with her project. The floor is yours, Maria.
Hola, buenos días. Voy a compartir mi pantalla.
Hello, good morning. May I share my screen?
¿Pueden verla en este momento?
Can you see it?
Yes, can you go on presenter mode? The slides are very small like this.
No me permite hacerlo. Dame un segundo.
It's not allowing me to do it. Just give me a minute, please. Just a second.
Okay, if there's no other option, please go ahead with your presentation.
Perfecto. Bueno,
Perfect.
hola, ¿cómo están? Lo primero es
How are
contarles
you?
de
Let
dónde
me
somos.
first tell you where we're at in this
Entonces, lo primero es
network of
decirles que somos del
scientific
Valle de Aburrá,
educators.
¿cierto? Es una región
We are
montañosa que está
from the
ubicada en los Andes
mountain range
colombianos.
in the
Es
Colombian
bastante
Andean
extensa, donde
region.
viven
It's
4.2 millones de personas.
4.2 million
Es decir,
people
que
live
hace que
there.
seamos muy vulnerables frente a
We're
ciertas cosas.
quite
Las
vulnerable
amenazas que se presentan en el
to
resto de
climate
Dios llevan a
change
que bajo escenarios del cambio
impact.
climático
And
las
this has to
comunidades
do
sean
with
más
climate change,
vulnerables.
and the
Por
community
las
are more
características de este
vulnerable, as I
territorio,
have
es
said.
necesario que
So
exista
you see,
inspecciones
this
de
is a
alerta
mountain
temprana.
range,
Es por eso
and we have to have early
por favor,
alert systems.
que
This is
existe
very
el
important.
CIATA, que es un proyecto
So we
estratégico
have
para la
this
gestión del riesgo de
strategic
desastres.
project
Es un proyecto
for
que desde la
disaster
investigación,
risk
desde el monitoreo, la
management
modelación y la
purposes,
apropiación científica del conocimiento,
monitoring,
entrega información
modeling,
y
and
ciencia
also
educativa para
scientific
tener todo el tema de
information
la gestión de riesgos
at
y
the
cuidados
local
en el
level
territorio.
for risk
Aquí es importante mencionar
assessment
que son 10
throughout our
municipios los que se
territory. We
unen
have 10
para que el proyecto
municipalities in this
CIATA y a su
project,
vez los proyectos de la red
and
de educadores
we
científicos
have
sean
other
así de simple.
scientific educator network projects that are part of the CIATA
La red de educadores
project as well,
científicos es una apuesta
which
para
is an
acompañar a los
overarching
docentes del Valle de Aburrá
methodology.
en
We
todo su
want
currículo
to
y que puedan
help
vincularlo a los temas de
teachers
cambio climático.
so that they can
Es una
include
propuesta de formación en educación
climate change
ambiental
issues
que está
in their
diseñada como una
classes. This
travesía
is
educativa.
designed
Este modelo de
as an
formación
educational
surge de la investigación doctoral
voyage,
de mi compañera
and
Carolina
we
Herrera, que está por aquí
have
también acompañándonos,
my colleague
ya que ella
Carolina
se
Herrera,
encarga de la
who's here with
investigación
me.
y hace
This
que
is a
todas
research
estas cosas
project
sean
she's in
posibles.
charge of
Esta
to make
apuesta busca
everything
fortalecer las
possible.
prácticas
It
pedagógicas de
has
los
to do with
profesores del territorio
strengthening
metropolitano para que el
practices
tema del
of
cambio
the
climático esté presente en
teachers
todas
in
las
this
materias y entre
territory,
las
but we
aulas.
want to
El
share
modelo se
this
basa en
with
dos
different
momentos,
areas.
¿cierto? El
We
primero
have two
es el
important
proceso
moments.
de
The first
formación,
one
que
is
ofrece
the
una visión
training part.
transdisciplinar en el cambio
This is
climático.
with
Esto se hace en conjunto
interdisciplinary
con todos los científicos
purpose.
sociales,
We share
meteorólogos,
this with
hidrólogos y
social
pedagogos y
scientists,
todos los científicos que
hydrologists,
hacen
and
parte
all
del
the different
proyecto CIATA.
scientists that are part of the
Y el segundo
CIATA
proceso es
project.
todo el
The
acompañamiento que
second
apoya la
process is the
implementación de
accompaniment,
estrategias educativas
supporting
en el aula. Lo que hacemos
implementation
es
of
seguir trabajando con
education
los profes
strategies
para
in the
acompañarlos
classroom.
y que todos los
So we
proyectos
work
que
with
surjan de
teachers
esa
so
primera
that all
formación
the projects
los
coming
hagan
from this
reales y poderlos
will
acompañar
turn
y
into a
fortalecerlos
reality
para
in
el
the
siguiente
classroom
paso.
for teachers to be able to
La red de educadores
strengthen
científicos nace en el
the
2019
project.
y
Since
podemos ver el cambio y el
2019, you
crecimiento
see
que se ha
growth
dado
here
durante
on
todos
this
los años.
graph.
Cada año tenemos más
And
profes
every year
que
we have
quieren
more
ser parte
teachers
de la
that
red de
want to be
educadores
part
científicos.
of the
Hasta
scientific
ahora hemos impactado
educators
aproximadamente a
network.
60.000 estudiantes de manera
60,000
indirecta,
students have been
formando a todos
receiving
los docentes
our
del Valle de Aburrá.
courses, and this is through the
Finalmente,
training programs for educators. That's how we can
de diapositiva,
disseminate Let's see, on this slide, you show some of those experiences we've had. There's a QR code. You see the different posters for the closing of this year. We have 4 more other projects, but let me tell you about this one, Picacho Guardians. This has to do with the education programs, critical positions, and a critical view on the impact of climate change. The Picacho is a green system, and this is the project we use to take children out in the field to see the impact of climate change directly in nature. And this is the territory we are working in. It has to do with access, inclusion, and with the Manuel José Sierra education system, we are working in terms of helping children recognize their own territory. As I have said, those are field trips with teachers and students, and we want everyone to know where they are living, and we are also using sign language. This has to do with reality, the context, taking into account local research projects and all the findings. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Maria Alejandra, really geared towards teachers, this project. So we really applaud you for really paying attention to that audience of teachers. So I'm looking at the chat and the raised hands. I don't see any raised hands. Oh, there is one appeared. Sonia Temilda Diaz, you can activate your microphone and ask a question directly.
Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you for such an interesting presentation. You're talking about training teachers. How do you do this, training the trainers? Could you tell us more about this? This is done at the classroom level, but how do you carry out the programs?
Sí, estamos, digamos que toda esta
Yes.
apuesta de accesibilidad e inclusión
This
de
has to do
jóvenes,
with
¿cierto?
inclusion
Entonces estamos
and
trabajando este
access
proyecto Diseñando mi
to
territorio, lo
programs.
trabajamos en una institución educativa
Designing my
particular,
territory,
¿cierto?
this has
En la
a very
institución Manuel José
specific
Sierra.
education
Pero tenemos otras
program
propuestas de
through the
creación de material
Manuel
para
Sierra
acompañar a los
School.
docentes.
We
Entonces
want to
estamos haciendo, por
accompany
ejemplo,
teachers.
videos de
For
fenómenos que
that,
explican
we
fenómenos
have
ambientales o que explican temas de cambio
videos
climático en
explaining
lengua de señas. Y
climate
también estamos haciendo una
phenomena,
apuesta por tener
and
material
we're using
en
sign
braille.
language, as I
Entonces,
have
talleres
said,
de
and
escritura
braille as
gráfica,
well.
mapas
We're
de
using
nubes,
braille
leyendas,
material,
cuentos que nos
and
permitan también hacer inclusión de los que no
storytelling
llegan.
is also very important.
Este material estará disponible pues en nuestro
This
sitio
material
web.
is
Lo que pasa es que estamos
available
como
for
evaluándolo que
everyone
quede
in the
correctamente para
website we
cualquier
have.
persona y que
We
puedan
want
usarlo
teachers
en
and
distintas
everyone
instituciones
to
educativas.
use those materials, people working in education institutions especially. Thank you so much. This is very interesting. We're going to look into your website. Well, thank you, Sonia.
Thank you, Sonia, and thank you, Maria. I want to encourage you, Maria, to look at the chat. I think there are some questions for you over there. And that brings us to the third and last presentation in this category. We will be traveling all the way to Pakistan, where Numan will tell us about his project. Unfortunately, he has some problems with his image, with his camera, so we won't be seeing him, but I hope we will all be hearing him. Well, take it away, Numan.
Okay, Good evening, everyone. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you so much to the Office for Climate Education and COP29 for giving us this opportunity to present our localized, contextualized community project at the global level. So let's start with just imagine a world where a girl in a remote village can stand shoulder to shoulder with the community elder to tackle the climate actions. And now imagine that this transformation begins in the classroom, led by an inspired teacher, because we are working on a greening teaching. So that is the future we are working at Climate Class Connection, one empowered teacher and one determined girl at a time. I am Numan Alam. I am from Pakistan. Started my journey of climate education in a school located in under-resourced communities back in 2021 when I was a fellow at Teach for Pakistan. I was shocked by the noticing that both students and the teacher were unaware of the very basic literacy of climate-induced disasters. And secondly, they have believed that tackling climate change is a very big challenge and it is the sole responsibility of the government and any other big organizations. So this was the time when I started this project to first empower the teachers and then the students and then beyond community. So coming to the next slide, yeah. So every great moment begins with a question, and my question was, how can education help girls to become leaders in the fight against climate change, and why they should be leaders? So, according to the UN Women Pakistan report, 70% of those that was recently displaced by 2022 floods in Pakistan were women and children. With 2 million children losing access to education, many of them were girls. Women and girls making up 80% of those displaced by climate disasters face severe challenges like reduced access to health, nutrition, education, etc. And then here in Pakistan, social norms and domestic responsibility further hinders their recovery and participation in educational opportunities. So these are the some data and statistics that highlight why girls are particularly vulnerable and why we must act now. So our objective is very clear: to empower teachers to foster girls' leadership and build climate resilience. Coming to the next slides. Next slide, please. Yeah. So here's the question that how this it revealed from the name the climate class connection. It is related to the climate change. Our work directly address the challenge of climate change by turning classrooms into space for actions and learning. We teach about causes, effects, and solutions of climate issues in very under-resourced classrooms, making climate education a core part of the students' learning experience. Students also gain some confidence to lead, whether it is managing school projects or raising awareness in their communities. So, in this way, we are working to empower their teachers and then take climate knowledge beyond the classrooms, engaging families and local leaders to take actions. Next, please. Yeah, so here are the project details that how are basically we are working and how we do that work. So what does this change look like? It look like teacher leading, student innovating, and community coming together. What we have done so far, we have trained more than 25 teachers to incorporate climate education into everyday learning. With the help of teachers, the project involves students in hands-on projects from recycling plastic to local tree plantation drive and community sessions. We brought parents and communities into the fields to make climate resilience a shared goal. And then this is not just education, it is an action, collaboration, and empowerment through education. Next, please. Yeah, this is very important and the last slides of my presentation. So look at these pictures. The community elders, the females, are sitting in a very patriarchal society, and they are discussing how their village and their community is vulnerable to climate change and what ideation to tackle these climate change should be. So let me tell you about this incredible achievement, the climate Batak, which means the climate gathering. Batak is basically here in Pakistan where mostly the influential people of the society come together and they sit to do some ideation. So in a small village, female teachers that were empowered to this project are breaking patriarchal norms by leading the community discussions. We are girls question male authorities and propose solution for deforestation and waste management. Now, 500 plus girls are climate change makers through this project, and mothers are adopting family-wide awareness at their home. The initiative has expanded, starting from only one school and now working in 10 schools across Pakistan, specifically focus on the girls' resilience, proving that when women and girls lead, entire community transform. So this is not just our result, it is our revolution. So my closing remarks at COP29 would be that this project is a testament to the fact that change begins with education and grow through collaboration. And my question is, what would our world look like if every student, especially a girl, in every village had the chance to lead? It is the time we find out. Thank you.
Thank you, Numan, for this wonderful presentation and really focusing on gender equality. We have time for one really quick question. I saw that Ugo raised his hand first, so please go ahead. Ugo, are you with us?
I think he removed his hand, so maybe we can move on to another
Paula.
person.
Paula, can you maybe activate your mic?
Hi, this is Paula Galvin from Ireland. That was a wonderful project, and I'd really like to congratulate you, Newman, and to focus on women, I think is hugely important. I'm just wondering, you mentioned that it's a very patriarchal society. Did you meet any challenges in your work from the male leaders of your community?
Numan, are you with us? Did you hear the question? Is Numan still with us? Numan, are you there? We don't seem to hear you. If you are muted, maybe. All right. We have
I'm
to.
here.
You're here.
Can you
Okay.
please ask me the question again?
Hi, Newman. I was congratulating you, first of all, on a wonderful project and really important to focus on empowering girls. I really like that aspect. I'm just wondering, given
Unfortunately,
that
the internet is buffering, so I'm unable to.
Maybe I'll put it into the chat, shall I, instead?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Paula.
Okay.
Numan, if you could answer the question in the chat,
Yeah,
that would
yes,
be wonderful.
please put
Yes.
into the chat because I'm very badly facing internet issue today due to rain.
All right, no problem. Thank you all three presenters. Now we are running out of time, so we have to go to voting really quickly. So I think you have 1 minute and 30 seconds to pick out your favorites.
That is right. Thank you, everybody, for your presentation. So get your virtual ballots ready. The moments we all like the voting time. So get those fingers on your computer to vote on this third category. We have a bit more than a minute left. So yeah, hurry up. We have already 80 votes. Thank you very much. We're arriving to the last category, so stick till the end to know the results for each category. Okay, 40 seconds left, everybody. Okay. We're almost done with the time for voting. 20 seconds. That 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that wraps up this voting session. Democracy has been served, and we didn't even have to wear a tie. Thank you, everybody. Next.
Thank you so much, Natalie. And last but not least, the greening communities category. So again, I will ask you to please speak as slowly as you can, but also to respect the 5 minutes limitation for the presentation. And we will begin with Jairo Alexander Sanchez from Colombia. So please go ahead and share your screen. Yes, we can see it. Jairo, are you still with us? If you can unmute yourself and share your screen, please.
Jairo?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe we can start with Carlos in the meantime, and I will try to contact Jairo individually. Carlos.
Buenos días, ¿me escuchan?
Ah, yes.
Buenos días.
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfecto.
So, Carlos.
Aló, arranco yo.
Buenos días.
Yes, can you share your screen with us, please? We can hear you perfectly.
Voy a compartir pantalla.
Oh, okay, so we have Jairo back. So Jairo, please, if you could begin with your presentation. Can you confirm that you hear us?
Sí, los escucho bien.
Okay, perfect. Are you ready to begin?
Sí.
Okay, so then Jairo, you have 5 minutes.
Bueno,
The floor is yours.
Muy buenos días. Buenos días, mi nombre es
My name is Jairo Alexander Sanchez. I'm a teacher of General Ramón Marín School. We are in the rural area located in San Juan, in Marmatos Municipality, Caldas Department. In Colombia, we have a multicultural and pluri-ethnic population. We have Afro-Colombian and also indigenous population. And we have our club called Lovers of Science and Technology. The goal of our project is how, through environmental education, we can generate an environmental awareness among the students with the message of climate change concepts, and they can replicate these messages within their families and neighbors within our community. We have a logo, which is acting local will have a global impact. These small actions are very important in continuous actions, and they remain for a long time because the project that we're trying to implement has been in place for about 10 years of implementation. We have climate data since 2015, and this allows us to approach climate change We can talk about climate change and how it is impacting our water sources and what other actions we can carry out to mitigate this problem.
Bueno, con los datos de la estación meteorológica hacemos boletines climáticos, damos recomendaciones,
We issue recommendations
alertas tempranas.
and we have early warning
Porque
activities.
el cambio climático tiene tanto fenómeno de
We know that
Niño como La Niña,
climate change has
dependiendo del
El
momento
Niño and La
que ya
Niña
se
phenomena.
aproxime, entonces generamos
And as this is happening,
en
we
donde
issue
cada
early warning
2 meses sacamos
activities.
los boletines climáticos donde damos las
We have climate
recomendaciones
bulletins or
y además
communicates where we
podemos
have
hacer
different
algunos
reports
pronósticos. Estamos
shared,
muy
and
afectados en
we
nuestra
also have
comunidad
a
debido
forecasting
a que ya
activity.
contamos con siempre algunos años de esta información climática.
And we have had this information for a
También
good number of years now.
También hacemos algunos elementos con material aprovechable, como son las
We
botellas
also
PET,
carry
basureros,
out
con llantas,
activities
también hicimos algunos
with
basureros y
disposable
algunas
materials such as empty bottles, plastic
Bueno,
bottles,
¿cuál es el
chairs,
proyecto?
and
Cambio
car
climático.
tires. We have a project called
Contamos con
climate
paneles
change,
solares que se
and
instaló
we have
con
solar
recursos que
cells.
ganamos con Fondo Acción, con acciones
These
climáticas escolares. Y hacemos parte del
are
proyecto
issues that we have
América
managed to
Latina para la
obtain
educación
through the
climática.
points that we are
En la mayoría
given
de los paneles
in the scoring
tenemos un
processes of
sistema
our
de
school
recirculación de
activities.
aguas lluvias para nuestro
And by doing
escolar.
this, we can recirculate
Además, hacemos jornadas de
the
reforestación y
rainwater.
de interés ambiental de nuestras fuentes hídricas.
We are also looking after
de
our
2.000
water
personas.
sources
También
that bring together over
hacemos
2,000 people.
recolección de residuos sólidos
We are
en
also
estas
collecting
áreas.
solid waste in these areas.
Podemos también
We can
trabajamos
also work
la robótica.
robotics.
Ahí pueden ver en la imagen algunos
Within this
prototipos que
image,
hicimos.
you can see some prototypes that we have created within our program.
El proyecto está enmarcado en el
This
artículo 3 del Plan
project is
Nacional de
framed
Desarrollo del
within
Gobierno
Article
Nacional.
3 of
Ese
the
artículo
National
3
Developmental
que
Plan,
dice
in
el
its
ordenamiento del
third
territorio
article that
se
states
hace alrededor
that
de las
within the
Además, contamos con
territorial
bombilleros de
order
especies
is
nativas para
conducted
reforestar
in
en las zonas de
regards to
interés
the water
ambiental
uses. We are
de nuestro
reforesting all
de
the
nuestro centro poblado,
environmental
que cuenta con
areas
alrededor de 2.000
of our
personas.
neighboring town
Marmato es un
with
municipio
over
minero, el cual
200 persons.
requiere de
Marmat is
mucho
a
recurso
mining
hídrico
municipality that calls
para
for the
esa
use of a
para
tremendous amount of
su inicio.
water for the
Entonces
mining
se hace el
industry.
llamado pues a los empresarios
So we have
que
made a
aporten
call to the business
algunos recursos
sector
para
in the
que el
mining
impacto de estas
area
reforestaciones
to provide
en estas áreas de
resources
interés
so the
ambiental
impact of this
sea
reforestation
más grande.
processes will be greater.
Los logros
Our
que
achievements
hemos obtenido
obtained so far
nos pueda
are through these
nos
actions.
hubiera hecho un video el cual está publicado en la página web de Fondo Acción que aparece como institución educativa
We
General Ramón Marín.
have
Todos los
created
pronósticos y
also
predicciones
a
que
video
hacemos
clip that is within our school, Juan
para que
Marin
las personas de nuestra
portal,
zona
and the people
puedan
within our
estar
area
alertas
could
ya
be
para el fenómeno
informed
del niño o de la niña que se aproxime.
and have early
También
warnings giving
el
any
Ministerio de
situation regarding
Educación y
El
el
Nino
Ministerio
or
de
La
Medio
Nina
Ambiente
climate phenomena.
nos han
We also carry out
buscado para
environmental
diferentes
education,
eventos,
and
como han
they
sido
have
las mesas
been
regionales
contacting us
de cambio
for
climático
different
que ha hecho
events,
el
such as the
Ministerio
regional
de Minas, el
rounds of
Ministerio de
climate change
Educación
organized
nos ha
by the
buscado para la
Ministry
celebración de
of
las
Nina,
fechas
and
importantes como
they have
fueron
also looked
el
for
Día de la
us and
Biodiversidad,
contacted us
el cual
on
grabamos un video
Biodiversity Day,
para que publicaran en sus plataformas.
and we have published our information and video clips within their own
Cairo, I'm sorry, but we will
websites.
need to cut you soon, so you have 20 seconds left. On a perdu.
Jairo?
Jairo, you have 20 seconds left to finish your presentation. Can you hear me?
Jairo, quedan 20 segundos. Sí.
Yes, understood. Thank you. Within the images, you can see how we are developing environmental awareness within our communities, where we're asking people to separate solid waste and all of the materials that we can store. And we are coordinating our activities with a women's organization in our municipality. And all of these are resources that we use within our environmental project. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much for this presentation. Are there any questions either in the chat, or does anyone wants to raise their hands to ask a question? Yeah, so I see there's a question in the chat and I can invite you to answer it. I have a question on my end, if you don't mind. Can you tell us how did you manage to make the connection between the measurement of extreme temperature and climate change to the students?
Bueno, nosotros acá en San Juan, donde
In
radica la
San Juan,
institución,
within
tenemos un
our
promedio de
school,
temperatura entre 18 y
we
20 grados.
have about
Gracias
18 to
a
20
las
degrees
mediciones
average
meteorológicas que
temperature.
tenemos con la
Thanks
estación,
to the meteorological
podemos ver
measurements that
cómo,
we have with our weather station,
cómo
we
las
can
temperaturas
identify
máximas se han
how the
incrementado.
maximum
En el año
temperatures
2016
have been up
tuvimos,
since
tuvimos un fenómeno
2016,
del Niño
where we had
y
El
alcanzamos
Nino,
temperaturas
where we
máximas
reached
alrededor del 31 grados.
high
Eso ocurrieron
temperatures of
este
31
año
degrees.
2023. O
This
sea, 7
happened
años
again
después,
in 2023.
volvimos y tuvimos ese
7 years
tope
later,
de
we had the
temperaturas
same
máximas. Ya todo
high
eso lo analizamos
temperatures. We
con
have
nuestros
analyzed
estudiantes
all of
en
this
clase,
together with our
ya que soy
students
docente de
in the
matemáticas,
classroom.
entonces
I am a
manejamos todo
mathematics
este tema
teacher, so
de
we
promedios
are
y
considering
ellos
how to
también se les
operate
enseña a construir
mathematical averages,
tablas y gráficos
and we
en
create
Excel,
tables and graphics within the
y con
Excel
esta
sheets.
información,
And with this
comparando
information,
lo que ha
by
pasado, lo
comparing
que
what
está
has
ocurriendo en el
taken
momento y
place
lo que pasó
previously,
en
what
épocas,
is
en
happening
años
now,
anteriores.
and what was the case in regards to readings of previous years.
Thank you so much, Jairo. And I see Lilian has also a question, but we're short on time. So Lilian, please, can you ask your question in the chat? And Jairo,
Okay,
feel free to answer the questions in the chat as well.
Okay, thank you, Jairo, for your presentation. I'm interested in the waste separation. My question is, what is the input of the women groups in the waste separation project?
Lilian, can you please repeat this question also in the chat, in the Q&A, so that Jairo can answer, because we really need to move to the next presentation. I'm so sorry.
Okay, fine.
Thank you so much. And we will now have Carlos. So Carlos, please, can you share your screen?
Yes. ¿Ya están viendo mi presentación?
We can see it.
Can you see my
¿Y me
screen?
escuchan
Yes.
bien?
Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Yes, we
Bueno,
can hear you loud
primero
and
que todo
clear.
saludarlos
Well,
a
first
todos y
of all,
todas
let me
por este
greet all of you
encuentro.
for
Les
this
estoy
meeting,
mostrando
and
el
I
proyecto
am
llamado
sharing with you
Ecochatarreros. Es
our
un
project
proyecto
called
de un
Eco
colegio
Chatarreros,
público
Eco
que se llama Técnico
Junkers.
Industrial Francisco José de Caldas en
We
Bogotá,
have
Colombia.
this in our school,
Nosotros
Caldas in
manejamos
Colombia.
el tema del
We
cambio
are
climático desde la
managing
mitigación y
climate change
adaptación.
from
Y
mitigation and
jurídicamente
adaptation
vemos
perspectives.
el cambio
And
climático
we
también desde la
understand
biodiversidad.
climate change
Si no hay
and
biodiversidad,
biodiversity.
pues
If
no
we
se
have
puede
no
hacer nada
biodiversity,
respecto
we
a estos
cannot
impactos
act
que nos genera el
in
cambio
regards
climático.
to the impacts of
También
climate
estamos
change.
observando acá una niña.
We are watching
Nosotros estamos
a
trabajando
girl
el
on the
tema
screen,
de
and
las
we
chicas
are
STEM,
working
cómo las
the
niñas se
involvement
vinculan en la ciencia.
of
El
girls, how
70%
they are
de la
connected with
ciencia en el mundo
science,
la
and
producimos hombres y hay una
70% of the
brecha muy importante en
scientific
la producción de STEM.
outcomes are
El
created
proyecto se
by
llama
men.
Ecochatarreros
So
porque
the
usamos la
Eco
chatarra
Chatarreros
tecnológica
project,
para crear
because
inventos
we are
para
creating
solucionar estas problemáticas ambientales.
elements to solve the
Next
environmental
slide.
problems.
Listo. Entonces, estamos en
Now,
la segunda diapositiva. Bien. Entonces, acá estamos viendo
here
que
we
nosotros
can see
enfrentamos en la problemática mundial
that
y
what
en la
the
enseñanza.
problems that we're
Sé que hay
facing
muchos
globally,
maestros y
and
maestras
I know that
observándonos.
are many
Muchas
teachers
veces en el
following
aula de
us,
clase y
and
la
quite
manera
often within the
al mostrar
classroom,
estos temas,
and
los
in
niños y
showing these
niñas
points, boys and girls
se
were
sentían
feeling
desanimados. Y un niño
that
me
they were
preguntó
not
una vez,
motivated.
profe, ¿será que
One
nos
of the
vamos a morir? Entonces la
children
idea
approached
es
me and
que
said,
el lenguaje que
Professor, are
usamos
we
en
going
el
to
aula,
die?
en
And
vez de presentar estas
so
problemáticas como una
within
tragedia,
the
es que
classroom,
lo
instead
veamos
of
como una
presenting these
oportunidad.
as
Y
a
nosotros hemos
tragedy,
visto esta
we should present
oportunidad
all these
desde
points
los
as
desechos
an
electrónicos.
opportunity. We
53
have
millones de
given them,
toneladas se
uh,
desechan
for
al año de
example,
ellos y
we
nosotros
have
las
seen the
arreglamos
53
estos
millions of
dispositivos
e-waste
y muchas
that
veces
are
sus
created
piezas
every
no
year.
se pueden
And
arreglar
quite
y
often, you cannot fix
las
these
utilizamos para
devices,
hacer otros
and we
proyectos.
are using
Entonces,
them
en
for
estos
our
proyectos
different
identificamos
projects.
las
Now,
problemáticas del
within this
país y
project,
del
we have
país
identified
donde yo
the
vivo acá en
problems
Colombia
in
hay
the
una
country.
problemática muy
Here in
fuerte con el
Colombia,
agua
we
potable,
have
con
a
la
very big
iluminación.
problem
Entonces, estamos
giving
hablando
fresh
que 2
water.
millones de colombianos no
We
tienen
have
acceso a la
2
energía eléctrica
million
y que se
Colombian
basa
people
y
do
que
not
este
have
mundo está
access
basado pues en un
to clean
consumismo
water.
exagerado donde
And
muchos
well,
tienen mucho y pocos
many
perdón,
have a lot
pocos
and
tienen
very
mucho y muchos tienen poco.
and
Entonces,
a
esta es
lot
una
have very
oportunidad
little.
de
So
cambiar
this is an
esta
opportunity to
educación
change
ambiental
this
de la muerte
paradigm
a cambiarla a
and
una educación de la
this
vida y de oportunidades para nuestros
environmental
niños y niñas.
education from
En este
having
caso, pues el proyecto más exitoso,
a
tenemos alrededor
deadly
de 21
perspective and change
proyectos
it
que hemos
into
generado en torno a
a
agua,
life
hemos
perspective.
hecho nuestras propias
We have
estaciones
generated
meteorológicas, porque estamos
water
trabajando con
methodologies,
murciélagos
our
como dispersadores de
meteorological
semillas
stations.
y
We're
restauradores
working
del
with
bosque.
vats
Estamos
for
trabajando
planting
con
seeds
estas
all over the
lámparas, se
forest.
llaman
We're
luces de paz.
working
Este ha sido el
with
proyecto
these
más exitoso.
lamps that
Hemos
are
llevado
called
alrededor de
peace
2.000
lamps.
lámparas por el país
We
y
have
al
created
exterior,
over
en
2,000 lamps
Argentina,
throughout the country and even
donde se
sending some to
presenta como una
Argentina.
oportunidad para las
And
familias
these
en
are
condición de
opportunities
vulnerabilidad.
for
Ahí
people
está
that
viéndose en
and
la
families in
diapositiva.
a vulnerable condition.
685
On the
millones de
slide, we
personas no
have
tienen electricidad en el
685
mundo
million
y
people
en
do not
Colombia
have
2 millones de personas
access
no
to
tienen acceso a estos recursos y para
electricity.
nosotros
In Colombia,
incluso
2
lo
million
desperdiciamos
people
en estos
do not
momentos en
have
nuestras
access to
casas.
this. So this
Entonces,
is how we
nos
are
enfocamos en los
taking
objetivos de
advantage of
desarrollo
this
sostenible,
within our
los
homes.
17,
This has to do with
la
sustainable
educación para la
development,
sostenibilidad ambiental
ODS
y en el
17,
uso de chatarra
education for
tecnológica.
environmental
Esto lo hacemos desde la
sustainability, and the
metodología
use
STEM,
of
usando la
technological
ciencia, la
waste or
tecnología,
e-waste.
el arte, las
This has to
matemáticas e
do with
incluso un
science,
aporte nuestro
technology,
es la S
art,
de lo
mathematics,
social.
and
Nuestros
well,
proyectos deben estar
basically
enfocados
what
hacia
has
la
to do
sociedad.
with our
Trabajamos en
social
aprendizaje
activities.
basado
And
en
this
proyectos
gives
sobre
way
cómo
to
no
a
estar al
learning based
servicio
on
y es una
projects.
oportunidad también
And
para
it is
motivar a
also
los
an
maestros y
opportunity to
maestras que nos
motivate
ven a que
school
sueñen con
teachers
sus
for
proyectos, a
them
que
to
los hagan
dream
realidad y
their
a que como
projects,
vemos
turn
en
them
esta
into
familia,
reality,
ven la ciencia como
because we
divertida, ven
can
la
see
ciencia como
how
esperanza
family
y
can
ven
see
la ciencia como
science
curiosidad
as a hope,
para
as a
arreglar un
fun
mundo
thing,
o
and
contribuir a
as a
un
way
mundo que
to build
está
a
pues
world
mal y tenemos
that
que
is
buscar qué
not
estrategias
ideal,
hacemos desde
but
la
to look for
alegría,
the
desde
strategies
lo bueno para
that we can
mejorar.
create from
En el
joy and
proyecto
good things to
hemos
improve.
plantado alrededor de
Within the
500
project, we
árboles,
have planted
mitigando
about
28 toneladas de
500
carbono.
tons,
Hemos realizado
capturing
2.000
28
lámparas,
tons of
se han
CO2.
beneficiado 8.000
We have
personas
over
que pueden
2,000
estar
lamps
compartiendo con su
donated.
familia
8,000
un
people have
espacio
benefited by
de familia, de estudio, donde
sharing
preparar la comida.
their
Se han
family
reciclado
spaces. We have
alrededor de
recycled
este
about
proyecto 3.5 toneladas de carbono
3.5
que no han
tons
sido emitidas al
of
usar estas baterías. Y al
CO2
usar
that
las
have not
lámparas se han
been
dejado de
issued to the
emitir
atmosphere.
7.3
And by
toneladas.
using this,
Cada
we're
lámpara
not
cuesta
issuing
$10, dura 10
7.3
años
tons of
y ahorran
carbon
a una
dioxide. closet. Now, we are saving about $10 with each lamp, so that means a savings of $140 a year, and it has 1,400 hours of useful life. We have helped and involved 500 Colombian children in the project. We have 3 educational institutions involved. We have shared this with 40 children from Argentina that are of farming families. We have mitigation projects and 11 adaptation projects in place. And I'm sorry I've taken more of your time. My apologies, but I believe this is it.
Thank you so much for this project. Are there any questions for Carlos? And either in the chat or by raising your hand. If not, I had a question about what you mentioned in your project submission. You said that you had a focus on student-led decision. So can you probably detail how much, how did you manage students' ideas? How much input did they have in the project that you presented?
Sí, pues traté de entenderte en inglés, no sé si lo hice bien. Entonces, ¿cómo podemos o cómo se generan las ideas en los
How
estudiantes?
we generate all
¿Y cómo
these
las
ideas
manejan?
among the students?
Exactly.
I believe I have understood your
Bueno,
question.
las ideas,
Well,
nosotros hacemos una lluvia de
we have
ideas,
a
vemos
brainstorming
la viabilidad
exercise
de los
where
proyectos
we
y si
see
nos gusta al
projects
equipo,
and how viable they
alrededor
are.
de cada año estamos manejando
And
alrededor de unos 50 estudiantes.
it's about
Nos
50 students
enfocamos
every
ese
year,
año respecto
and
a esto. Este
we
año
are focusing
trabajamos el tema de
every
datos,
year on
queremos un
different
sistema de
topics. This
potabilización
year
del
has
agua,
been
queremos que las empresas
involving
tomen
fresh
agua
water,
limpia,
so
identificamos que ellos
people will
toman el
have
agua de donde lavan
clean
los
water.
traperos y las cosas de aseo en el colegio, los cuales nos parece indigno. Entonces generamos un proyecto,
So
generamos a
we
socios,
created
he
a
estado trabajando
project,
con ONGs, para este
and we're
caso
working
una
with
ONG que se llama
NGOs.
Agencia Social,
So
y
Agencia Social
generamos
is one
esta
of them.
lluvia de ideas,
And we
integramos
have this
todo
brainstorming
eso al
and
proyecto
we
y el que más
integrate
nos
all of
apetece
these
como
projects.
equipo es el
And
que
the one that
empezamos a desarrollar
we
cada año.
consider to be the best is the one that we develop.
Thank you so much. Again, there are some questions in the chat for you, so please do answer them. And because we're ending, I want to take this opportunity to thank all the teachers for the amazing presentation. And feel free to look at the chat again if there are additional questions to answer them. And now we're going to move on to the last voting session. So Natalie is sharing the QR code. So now again, you enter the code or you take a photo of the QR code and you can vote for your favorite project of this section. So thank you, everyone.
¿Ya tienes la app de Temu? Si no,
Natalie, you're muted.
Thank you. So I was saying that we have over 100 votes already. You have still 30 seconds. So the power is in your fingers. Tap wisely. Yeah, this is the last category. So go vote. Make your voice heard. And yeah, we will be revealing the results soon. So stay till the end. We have 20 seconds left for this voting session. So go vote, everybody. Don't let that vote go unclicked. It's like leaving like a slice of pizza on your plate. So go vote, everybody. And this is it. We're done with this last voting session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for this great hosting facilitation of the voting process. Great comments for you on the chat as well, Natalie, if you can address those about your great levels of energy. Now, while Natalie does a little bit of math and takes a look at the 4 different votes, we'll have a small presentation from Asmita. This time around, I hope I got it well. Who will share with you next steps post this teacher's cup? What is going to happen with all these projects, Asmita? You are also muted.
Sorry, it's supposed to unmute me with this. But thank you. Indeed, it doesn't end here, the Teachers Cup. All the presentations, all the projects you saw today will be featured on this global platform for teachers interested in climate change education called Schoolings. So I would advise you to maybe take a picture of the slide with your phone or write down the link, www.s-cool-links.org. And it's a free platform for everybody. All teachers can join, and you can benefit from it by accessing all the information and support that we have to offer. And we invite you to become an active member of this teacher community. My colleague Ibrahim, shout out to him, who is watching from Belgium right now. He will be making nice visuals of all these projects and post them, publish them on the platform, so everybody can really engage about those projects, ask questions, give their own insights, or just maybe get informed a little deeper and take it home with them to maybe adapt or implement it in their schools. If you have any questions, you can send us emails at info@schoolings.org. The email is below. And I want to say we have nice things to offer to teachers. For example, mini grants limited. So first come, first serve. If you want to know more, send us messages. We have free weather stations for schools who want to use them in their math, science, or any other subject. So this is an open invitation to all of you, and especially the teachers who presented today, to keep talking about their wonderful work. So thank you. So over to you guys at OCE.
Thank you so much, Asmita, for this invitation. The invitation is for everyone here. We will also be sending you the recording of the Teachers Cup, as well as all these useful links in a post-event email. So do not worry, you will get all the information that was shared with you today. Nathalie, are we ready to go over for the results of the vote?
Yes, we are. So I'm going to share my screen so we can all discover the winners of each category together. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Do you see it?
We do see it. So we are back to the first pillar, greening schools, where we had Sandra, Fabrice, and Juan Daniel for this category. So Nathalie, who did the teachers choose as their favorite project in this category?
Let's find out.
Ooh, that was very close, but congratulations, Juan Daniel. You are the selected project for this first pillar of greening schools. Felicidades. I don't know if Juan Daniel he's still with us over there. If you'd like to say 20 seconds of a thank you to somebody.
No.
Yeah. Bueno, muchas gracias a todos por haber votado.
I thank all of you for voting. All of the initiatives that we have heard are important criteria in order to develop more sustainable schools with good methodology facing the challenges that we're facing currently. So we have to continue working within our communities, within our schools, and we can, by doing this, transform other paradigms. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan Daniel, and congratulations once again. Natalie, let's go. Let's find out who won the second category. Whose is the favorite project of the teachers on greening curriculum?
3, 2, 1, drum roll, please, or tap on your tables.
Ooh, a little landslide here. Patricia Enriquez Colonel. Felicidades. Congratulations. You are also the
Gracias.
selected teacher.
Gracias.
Gracias a ti, Patricia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We thank you, Patricia.
Okay.
Let's keep the ball going. So, Nathalie, on greening teacher training out of Emmanuel, Maria Alejandra, and Numan, who got the most votes out of the teachers?
Are you ready, everyone? And the results are, oof.
Ooh, that was very close again. Congratulations, Numan. If you're still with us, otherwise we will let you know.
Yes,
Wow,
here.
great.
Oh, there you are.
Thank you so much,
Congratulations,
everyone.
Numan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Congratulations.
This is very a big honor for me. Thank you so much to Climate for Education, Climate Office for Education in COP29.
Thank you so much, Numan. We're extremely happy. That was a very interesting project. I see still a lot of open questions on the chat, so before we go, please do not hesitate to answer those questions. And congratulations once again. Natalie, last category between Jairo and Carlos René.
Yes.
Who did the teachers choose as their favorite project?
Okay, we're gonna. Oh, that was close.
That was also close indeed, but congratulations, Carlos René. Felicidades.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you y gracias. Gracias a todas, a todos los maestros y espero que esto inspire.
Thank you. I thank all teachers, and I hope this will inspire all of you to continue with your project and to lead boys and girls to face climate change. My love goes to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carlos. And congratulations once again to all of the selected projects of this year. We are very, very honored to be able to facilitate this space for you. You're the reason we do what we do, actually. So we want to say thank you from the Office for Climate Education, and I know also from VVOB for taking the time to be with us today, and for being also here for some of you year after year. We really love discovering your projects, and we really love also hearing and seeing the passion and all the heart you pour into these projects to make them happen and make them come to life. We were delighted to see a very, very lively Q&R questions and answers box. We had over 200 comments and questions flying throughout the 2 hours of the event. So this is really the reason why we do this, to allow you to learn from each other, inspire each other. And we're very happy to see that you really take this opportunity and did as much as you did with it. So with this, we would like to finish this event. A big thanks also to the team that makes this Teachers Cup possible every year. My immediate colleagues here today, Nathalie, Eva, and Amina, are a great set of interpreters as well. All of the teachers who participated, as Mita mentioned, this is just the first step, and we will be talking with you, all of you, throughout the year to shine a light as well on your practice and on your projects throughout the year to come. We will also be posting on social media some of these results, some of these best practices. So do not hesitate to follow us over there as well to keep the conversation alive as well. And of course, if you need anything, I think I speak from VVOB's side and ours, please do not hesitate to reach out. We work for you, the teachers. So, gracias, merci, thank you. And with this, we end this and I say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. I don't know if Asmita or Inge want to add something, but
Indeed.
Thank you.
No, thank you everybody for their contributions. I just want to make a small addition. The Schoolings platform is supposed to be multilingual. There's a technical issue that we're fixing right now because we updated to a new version. But I hope next week you will be able to access the site in your language of preference. But thank you everyone for your wonderful contributions. Thank you OCE for this great partnership.
Thank you, Asmita.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
See you next
Bye.
year in Brazil.
See you.
Goodbye,
Hope to be
everyone.
there.
Tchauzinho.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you, Elsie.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Congratulations.